However, even more terrifying things lay ahead. Radar stealth testing complete. Yi Bai's voice rang out once more. Now, we will begin the optical stealth test. Kunpeng 01, activating optical stealth mode. Received. High above. The originally pitch-black Kunpeng suddenly shimmered with a ripple akin to water across its surface. Then, under the wide-eyed gaze of those in the tower, the massive aircraft, measuring several dozen meters in length, began to gradually turn transparent. Its color and outline began to perfectly blend with the surrounding sky. In mere moments, the once clearly visible Kunpeng had completely vanished from sight, like a droplet of water absorbed by the sea. Is this magic? An Air Force expert murmured, staring at the empty sky before him. Inside the control tower, silence reigned. Everyone was utterly shattered by this miraculous sight, which had transcended their understanding. The radar could not see it. The eyes could not perceive it. How could one engage in combat under such circumstances? This was an invincible presence. From this day forth, the Longhua Air Force would wield a blade so sharp it could pierce through any enemy defense system. Just as the entire control tower was engulfed in shock at the Kunpeng's almost magical optical stealth capability, Yi Bai's voice broke the silence once more. Don't rush, everyone. He observed the dazed expressions on their faces, a playful smile gracing his lips. We haven't finished yet. Have we overlooked something? Upon hearing Yi Bai's words, Commander Nye and Elder Qian snapped back to reality. They exchanged glances, both their eyes lighting up with sudden realization. Endurance. Yes, endurance. Commander Nye exclaimed, slapping his thigh in excitement. I almost forgot this most critical aspect. Yi Bai, what about its endurance capabilities? For a strategic transport aircraft, an ultra-long endurance range is a manifestation of its core value. Only with global reach can it truly embody the term strategic. We'll find out shortly, Yi Bai replied calmly. Commander Nye immediately seized the intercom, issuing commands to the test pilot in the cockpit. Kunpeng number 01, radar stealth and optical stealth, temporarily lifted. Immediately proceed along the predetermined flight path to conduct extreme endurance testing. Understood. As the command was issued, high above the sky, the previously invisible Kunpeng gradually revealed its true form once more. With an elegant posture, it altered its course and soared into the distance with a mighty roar. Commander Nye promptly instructed personnel in the command center to outline an ultra-long flight route that covered most of Dragon Country's territory and even extended into the surrounding maritime regions on the vast map. All radar stations closely monitored Kunpeng's flight trajectory. Air Force bases across the country prepared for immediate support. Inside the control tower, everyone anxiously yet eagerly watched the green dot representing Kunpeng on the screen, tracing long arcs across the map. Time passed, second by second. 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours. After Kunpeng had flown continuously for a full 28 hours in the air, it slowly adjusted its course back toward the airport upon the command center's call. At that moment, everyone in the control tower was utterly exhausted from the wait, yet their eyes sparkled with unprecedented excitement. When Kunpeng landed steadily on the runway, and the hatch opened, revealing 2 test pilots stepping out, Commander Nye could hardly contain his eagerness as he rushed forward. How is it? What about the endurance capability? The test pilot removed his helmet, and though fatigue was evident on his face, excitement shone through. Reporting to the commander, Kunpeng number 01, carrying a full load of 80 tons, cruised continuously at Mach 20 for 28 hours. During this time, no aerial refueling was conducted. The maximum range, upon calculation, has exceeded 50,000 kilometers. 50,000 kilometers. This figure struck every heart like a bolt from the blue. 50,000 kilometers. This means that Kunpeng can take off from any airport in Dragon Country and fly nonstop to any corner of the Earth. This is true global reach capability. In this moment, everyone was utterly stunned by this staggering number. Their gazes toward Yi Bai were not merely shocked, but filled with awe. As if they were beholding a being beyond human comprehension. Commander Nye trembled with excitement, suddenly embracing Yi Bai. His voice choked with emotion and incoherent words spilling forth. Yi Bai, you are simply a divine being. 50,000 kilometers. 50,000 kilometers indeed. He released Yi Bai, tears shimmering in his eyes, nearly at a loss for words. With Kunpeng, our Dragon Country's Air Force, our military power, will rise completely, truly stepping onto the world stage, venturing into the deep blue. Chapter 406, Production Capacity Insufficient, Must Increase Production Capacity. Global Deployment, Global Reach, Global Strike. This is no longer merely a transport aircraft. This is a strategic heavy weapon that will fundamentally alter the global military landscape. Commander Nye's voice echoed within the control tower. filled with uncontainable joy. Elder Qian was equally overwhelmed, tears streaming down his face. Yi Bai, you have rendered an unparalleled service to the nation. After the immense joy and excitement subsided, Commander Nie's thoughts began to race. While its speed might be slightly inferior compared to specialized strategic bombers, its terrifying payload and nearly insurmountable stealth capabilities could more than compensate for this. Beyond basic material delivery, with this aircraft, our airborne troops could appear in any corner of the globe within 24 hours to execute decapitation or targeted elimination missions. We could also modify it into an aerial refueling aircraft, providing a continuous supply of air support for our fighter jets, extending our operational radius across the entire Pacific. Furthermore, we could even adapt it into an early warning aircraft or an electronic warfare plane, and with its endurance and stealth capabilities, it would become the perfect airborne combat platform. The more Commander Nie spoke, the more exhilarated he became, as if he could already envision the future Dragon Country Air Force commanding countless Kunpings, traversing the seas and striking awe into the world. Most importantly, Commander Nie's voice suddenly rose, brimming with uncontrollable excitement. If we equip it with a substantial arsenal of air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, it could conduct uninterrupted strategic patrols over enemy territory for 24 hours. Its strike range would encompass the globe. Wherever we wish to strike, we can do so. In a certain sense, it would function as a strategic bomber. Though it may be slightly slower, its capacity is unmatched. Commander Nie's vision ignited the passion of all the Air Force experts present, their hearts racing with fervor. These are by no means mere fantasies. With Kunping's capabilities, all of this is entirely feasible. However, just as everyone was immersed in this beautiful vision of the future, Yi Bai suddenly paused. Rubbing his head, he looked at Commander Nie with a hint of confusion and said, Commander Nie, while what you mentioned is indeed achievable, it might be somewhat cumbersome, wouldn't it? Commander Nie, taken aback by Yi Bai's words, looked at him with puzzlement. Cumbersome? How could that be cumbersome? Yi Bai shrugged, speaking calmly. After all, Kunping is a transport aircraft platform. Modifying it into a bomber involves certain performance compromises. Instead of going through all that trouble, I could directly provide you with a professional strategic bomber. Yi Bai's nonchalant remark plunged the entire control tower into a profound silence. Everyone widened their eyes, staring at Yi Bai as if he were some kind of monster. Directly provide a professional strategic bomber. Is this kid speaking coherently? That is a strategic bomber. It represents the pinnacle of a nation's aviation industry, symbolizing the triad nuclear strike capability, a national treasure. How could he mention it with such ease? As if he were casually buying cabbage at a market. The silence endured for several seconds. Ultimately, it was Commander Nie who first regained his composure. He slapped his forehead, a bemused expression crossing his face. Oh dear, look at my brain. Then, pointing at himself, he burst into laughter. My apologies, my apologies. Having been poor for so long, I've never experienced such a life where I can have whatever I want. This is the first time, and I'm still getting used to it. Ha ha. Laughter erupted throughout the control tower, resonating with joy. Though Commander Nie's words were in jest, they echoed the sentiments of everyone present. Not long ago, they were struggling to keep pace with an outdated fighter jet. Yet now, with Yi Bai's assistance, they had begun to critique strategic bombers. This happiness arrived too swiftly, too unexpectedly. After the laughter subsided, Commander Nie's expression grew serious once more. Yi Bai, the emergence of Kunping holds immense significance. I must immediately report in detail to the higher-ups. Please wait here for a moment. I shall return shortly. With that, Commander Nie swiftly entered the adjacent independent communications room. He meticulously reported all data from the Kunping transport aircraft tests, as well as Yi Bai's astonishing suggestion to directly transform it into a strategic bomber, to the higher-ups. Silence lingered on the other end of the line for quite some time. Then, a flurry of directives came rushing through, like a tempest. When Commander Nie emerged from the communications room, his demeanor had returned to its usual composure, yet his eyes sparkled with an unmistakable excitement. He quickly approached Yi Bai. Yi Bai, what is the production capacity for the Kunping transport aircraft that you can achieve? Yi Bai paused, then smiled wryly. Commander Nie, I'm not quite sure at the moment. The production line is under the purview of Longyuan Group, so I need to inquire about it. With that, he dialed the phone number of Wang Zhengwo, the COO of Longyuan Group, once more. Mr. Wang, how is the production line for the Kunping transport aircraft coming along? What is the expected production capacity? On the other end of the line, Wang Zhengwo promptly reported, Chairman, in accordance with your directives, we have urgently prepared a production line for the Kunping. The initial estimate is an annual capacity of 30 aircraft. Simultaneously, concerning the Longyuan Type 1 passenger aircraft, Both production lines are operating at full capacity, achieving a monthly output of 8 aircraft. Due to the overwhelming number of orders, major domestic airlines have paid a 50 deposit, resulting in an astonishing cash flow of over 100 billion long yuan. Orders are already lined up for 5 years ahead. Upon hearing Wang Zhengwo's report, Yibai could not help but be astonished. A cash flow of 100 billion long yuan, orders extending 5 years into the future. The Long Yuan passenger aircraft is indeed a veritable money-printing machine. He then relayed Wang Zhengwo's report to Commander Nye. After listening, Commander Nye could not suppress a sharp intake of breath. Good heavens! This Long Yuan passenger aircraft is truly a treasure trove. His expression then turned serious as he addressed Yibai. Yibai, one production line for the Kunpeng is far from sufficient. The directive is clear. I require at least one additional production line for the Kunpeng. Furthermore, the annual capacity must exceed 50 aircraft. The Eastern and Western theaters have already placed orders. The initial order totals 100 aircraft. They must all be delivered within 3 years at the latest. Thus, you must find a way to elevate the annual production capacity of the Kunpeng to 50 aircraft. Chapter 407. Affordable Prices and Terrifying Performance. Yibai's eyebrows furrowed at the thought. An annual capacity of 50 aircraft and a delivery of 100 aircraft in 3 years implies that Long Yuan Group must establish at least 2, if not 3, production lines for the Kunpeng in a short period. This is undoubtedly a colossal challenge for a company that has only recently been established. Just as he pondered how to resolve the production capacity issue, Commander Nye suddenly recalled something. By the way, Yibai, what is the price of your Kunpeng transport aircraft? Everyone had been so engrossed in the astonishing performance of the Kunpeng that they had completely overlooked this crucial question. Yibai smiled and quoted a figure. The unit price is 5 billion long yuan. What? Commander Nye was once again taken aback. 5 billion long yuan. That is even cheaper than our current Y-20 transport aircraft. It is well known that the cost of the Y-20 varies between 300 million to 400 million long yuan, depending on its configuration. And the Kunpeng? It boasts a series of extraordinary capabilities, including supersonic speed, stealth, high altitude, and heavy payload. Its performance is leagues ahead of the Y-20, yet its price is even lower? Yibai, are you absolutely certain you haven't made a mistake? Commander Nye asked, incredulity etched across his face. Yibai shrugged, of course. This price includes a reasonable profit margin. If we only consider the construction costs, it would be even lower. This is simply a windfall. Commander Nye was at a loss for words to express his emotions. After a moment of contemplation, he looked at the seemingly unfazed Yibai and slowly began. Yibai, while I have never understood your fascination with live streaming, whether it's for fame or simply the exuberance of youth, there is an excellent opportunity for you to shine right now. I wonder if you would seize it? Upon hearing this, Yibai, who had been languidly seated, suddenly brightened, as if electrified, nearly jumping out of his chair. Ecstatic. This is like a pillow arriving just as one is falling asleep. He had exhausted his hard-earned 2 billion shock value to modify the Kunpeng transport aircraft, and the stark number on the system panel had left him anxious over the past few days. Although it had increased somewhat, it was still far from sufficient. Just when he was fretting over how to acquire another wave of shock value through legitimate channels, Commander Nye had presented him with an opportunity. Suppressing his excitement, Yibai feigned a nonchalant demeanor and inquired, "Oh, Commander Nye, what opportunity are you referring to? Please elaborate." Commander Nye, observing Yibai's barely concealed interest, shook his head in resignation and replied earnestly, "The higher-ups have indicated that since you have the capability to produce another bomber, there is no need to keep the Kunpeng under wraps. Rather, we should showcase the Kunpeng to the world. Let everyone see that we have created such an extraordinary aircraft, capable of stealth and global reach." At this point, Commander Nye's eyes glinted with a sharp intensity, and his tone grew more solemn. Recently, both across the ocean in America and in the Eastern Islands, there has been a sense of unrest, with numerous provocations. It is time to reveal our strength and demonstrate that the Dragon Nation of today is no longer the same as it was a century ago. If you agree, there will be a top-tier media team from the central government to interview you, providing comprehensive coverage as you introduce the capabilities of the Kunpeng to the nation and the world. A central media exclusive, introducing the Kunpeng to the world. Upon hearing this, Yibai felt an overwhelming wave of joy. If this were to air on central media, the audience would not just be the viewers in his live stream, but a massive pool of billions, encompassing the entire nation and beyond. This is fantastic. Yibai nodded vigorously, without a hint of hesitation, and immediately agreed. However, in the next moment, a brilliant idea struck him, and he asked, "By the way, Commander Nye, since it's a central media interview, would I be able to stream live as well? After all, my tens of millions of fans are waiting. Upon hearing this, Commander Nie's previously solemn expression froze, and his mouth twitched uncontrollably. He stared at Yi Bai as though he were an extraterrestrial. What time is it? This is a national-level strategic deterrent operation, a serious occasion aimed at sending a message to America, and you're still thinking about your insignificant live stream. You truly cannot forget about live streaming, can you? Taking a deep breath to suppress the urge to kick him, Commander Nie finally relented and waved his hand. Fine. Live stream it. Just don't disclose any core secrets. Do as you wish. The higher-ups have indicated that the bigger the commotion, the better. If you want a live stream, that will generate buzz online. With Commander Nie's approval, Yi Bai's smile became even more radiant. This is a sure thing. Once this live stream begins, coupled with the backing of central media, will the shock value not surge like a river? After discussing the Kunpeng's unveiling, Commander Nie seemed to recall something else and added, by the way, I have also reported the matter regarding the bomber to the higher-ups. Their efficiency is commendable. They have specially approved a bomber for you to practice with. With that, Commander Nie pulled a document from his briefcase and handed it to Yi Bai. However, as you know, the number of the most advanced bombers in service is limited, and they all have combat readiness tasks. Therefore, the aircraft allocated to you is still an older model, the H-6. Yi Bai glanced at the document handed to him, his mind swiftly grasping its implications. The H-6, renowned as the legendary Sixth Master, had served for over half a century. However, this suited him perfectly, given that his current system access remained at a B level. Attempting to modify the latest advanced bombers, which would undoubtedly carry an A rating or higher, would be beyond his reach. In contrast, this vintage model lay comfortably within his capabilities, and the contrast and impact of the modifications would be far more striking. Rest assured, Commander Nie, this is sufficient, Yi Bai nodded, securing the document. However, he shifted his tone, a contemplative expression gracing his face. The transformation of this bomber might need to be slightly postponed. Chapter 408, Making Moves Against Boeing. Oh, why is that? Commander Nie inquired, somewhat taken aback. Yi Bai, feeling a tad embarrassed, rubbed his hands together and replied, there are two primary reasons. First, as you know, my family matters are rather tricky at the moment. I need a few days to stabilize things and secure some funds from Boeing and Airbus. Second, Yi Bai paused, a glimmer of uncontainable enthusiasm flashing in his eyes. I have a significant project from the central government that is overdue and must commence production immediately. A major project from the central government? Commander Nie was momentarily stunned. Then, as though recalling something, his pupils constricted sharply, his voice tinged with a new timbre. You mean that? He certainly remembered that Yi Bai's ascension to the highest echelons had not only been due to his groundbreaking technologies, but primarily because of the top-secret Nanchunman project. At its core lay the individual combat unit, the Chungying tactical mecha. Commander Nie, holding a high rank, was privy to many matters. Yi Bai nodded, a mysterious smile gracing his lips. Indeed, that's the one. Observing Yi Bai's confident demeanor, Commander Nie felt a chill run down his spine, rendering him momentarily speechless. This young man had just completed the supersonic passenger aircraft and stealth transport aircraft, and now he was embarking on mecha development. Taking a deep breath to steady his astonishment, he waved his hand decisively, proclaiming, no problem. The bomber can wait. Focus on this major project first. Whatever you need, just say the word. I will ensure you have it, even if it means emptying the Central Theater's warehouses. Subsequently, Yi Bai returned to the top office of the Black Technology Factory. Without any pause, he directly dialed Wang Li, who was responsible for capital operations at the 100-Ton King Group. On the other end, Wang Li's voice brimmed with excitement. Mr. Yi, you called for me? Is there another big move in the works? Yi Bai wasted no time, stating plainly, indeed, Wang Li, I have a significant task. I plan to short sell Airbus and Boeing. Prepare accordingly and time your entry perfectly. Short sell Boeing and Airbus. Wang Li's voice shot up an octave, clearly astonished by the audacity of this plan. Yet, as a top investment banking elite, she immediately recognized the enormous opportunity it presented. Taking a deep breath to quell her excitement, she swiftly regained her composure. Mr. Yi, are you serious? These two companies are the duopolists of the global aviation industry, titans with market valuations in the trillions of dollars. To short sell them requires substantial capital and precise timing. Capital is not an issue, and I have already set up the timing for you, Yi Bai interjected calmly. News of the Lonyuan passenger aircraft will soon reverberate globally, at which point, Boeing and Airbus' stock prices will undoubtedly experience a roller coaster ride. I understand. Wang Li's voice radiated determination. Rest assured, Mr. Yi, We at 100-Ton King Group will not let this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slip by. I will immediately assemble the team to devise the most impeccable short-selling strategy, ensuring those foreigners lose their shirts. Excellent, Yi Bai replied, nodding in satisfaction. By the way, how has the group's revenue been lately? Mentioning revenue, Wang Li's tone lightened considerably, even tinged with pride. Thanks to you, Mr. Yi. Our group's revenue is nothing short of extraordinary. Last time I reported, our liquid assets stood at 20 billion. Now they have more than doubled. Doubled? Yi Bai raised an eyebrow, taken aback. Indeed, Wang Li confirmed. There have been breakthroughs in the unmanned technology at Zhou's end, resulting in substantial royalty fees. Sun Jiqiang has also been very successful in the futures market. Additionally, the efficiency of our logistics business has skyrocketed under Lu's integration. Our current cash flow is ample enough to take a significant bite out of this short-selling operation. Outstanding. Yi Bai generously praised her. Inform everyone that if this operation succeeds, the previous promises still hold. Not only will the bonuses double, but I will also keep my word regarding health and longevity. After hanging up with Wang Li, Yi Bai dialed Jiang Chumo's number. Hello, my esteemed boss. What directives do you have? Jiang Chumo's teasing voice resonated. No directives per se. I'm here with funds. Yi Bai chuckled. I plan to short sell Boeing and Airbus. If you have spare capital, you can join in and reap the rewards. Short sell. Jiang Chumo paused momentarily before quickly grasping the situation. Yi Bai, you're serious about this? If executed well, wouldn't that be free money? Quite so. Yi Bai replied nonchalantly. You may coordinate with Wang Li at 100-Ton King for the precise entry timing. Just prepare your bags to collect the profits. Absolutely. I knew following you would yield rewards. Jiang Chumo excitedly agreed, as if envisioning a shower of dollars descending from the heavens. Lastly, Yi Bai contacted Wang Zhengwo, COO of Lonyuan Group. Mr. Wang, I have a plan that requires your cooperation. Chairman, please proceed. Wang Zhengwo replied respectfully and steadily. In the immediate future, when you promote externally, tone down the rhetoric. State that although the Lonyuan I has been released, its overly advanced technology has led to significant challenges in mass production, to the point of being nearly impossible. Nearly impossible? Wang Zhengwo expressed confusion. Chairman, Haven T, we already maxed out our production capacity. Orders are booked until next year. Why claim difficulty? This is a strategic ploy to feign weakness, to align with our market actions, Yi Bai patiently elucidated. You must propagate the narrative that we are losing money while gaining publicity, that our technology is exceedingly immature, quality rates are alarmingly low, and our financial chain is on the brink of collapse. In essence, portray our situation as dire. Ideally convincing the external world that Lonyuan Group is on the verge of bankruptcy. Only then can we create a false sense of optimism for Airbus and Boeing, allowing their stock prices to rise. Once they are sufficiently inflated, we will strike hard. This is what we call killing with kindness, understood? On the other end, Wang Zhengwo fell silent for a moment before enlightenment dawned upon him, his tone laced with admiration. Brilliant. Rest assured, this act of feigned misery is our forte. We will ensure it appears utterly convincing, fooling those foreigners completely. We have over $1 trillion in liquid assets. When the time comes, we will surely take a significant bite out of them. Chapter 409. Chungying is ready. Agreed, let us finalize this. Once the short-selling operation concludes, release the actual production capacity and order data, delivering a decisive blow. Understood, Chairman. We will ensure the mission is accomplished. After ending the call, Yi Bai leaned back in his chair, a cold smile playing at the corners of his lips. Everything was in place. Only the right opportunity was needed. Boeing and Airbus, your days of prosperity are numbered. After meticulously arranging the strategic layout for the competition against Boeing and Airbus, Yi Bai exhaled deeply, redirecting his attention to the South Heaven Gate project. He summoned the complete design blueprint of the Chungying tactical mech. As his thoughts crystallized, the super laboratory within his mind erupted into brilliance. Countless streams of intricate data, complex enough to overwhelm an ordinary scientist, converged in the void, reassembling to ultimately forge a steel body. Project name, Chungying All-Domain Unmanned Tactical Mech. Current progress, 100, fully unlocked form. Yi Bai inhaled sharply, beginning to scrutinize the core modules of this mech. Although he had long anticipated that the products of the South Heaven Gate project would be anything but simple, he was nonetheless struck with profound astonishment when the genuine technical parameters lay before him. First, he focused on the power core. His gaze fell upon the core section of the mech's chest, emanating a soft blue glow. Core Module 1, Chaotic Micro-Cold Fusion Reactor. Gasp. Upon reading these words, Yi Bai could not suppress a sudden intake of breath. Cold fusion. This indicated that the mech possessed nearly limitless endurance. As long as the fuel rods remained intact, it could engage in combat indefinitely, utterly disregarding the supply concerns that plagued current electric vehicles or fuel-powered machines. Furthermore, its output power rivaled that of a small to medium-sized city power station. Absurd. Simply outrageous. Yi Bai murmured to himself. To fit a power station inside a mech was an overflow of energy beyond imagination. Next came the propulsion system. Core Module 2, Quafu Cycle Plasma Thruster. This propulsion system was not a conventional chemical fuel rocket. Instead, it directly harnessed the immense electrical energy provided by the reactor to instantaneously ionize the working fluid into high-temperature plasma, which was then expelled through a strong magnetic field. It possessed the capability for ultra-supersonic cruising within the atmosphere and near-Earth orbital space combat. Yi Bai stared at this description, his eyelids twitching. Space combat. This was where the true terror of the Chang'e mech lay. It was not merely a ground dominator. It was the sovereign of the skies, capable of penetrating the atmosphere to deliver devastating strikes against enemy satellites and space stations. This transcended the existing dimensions of warfare on Earth. It was a genuine dimensional strike. Turning his attention to the defense system. Core Module 3, Xingtian Adaptive Phase Armor. This armor was an advanced version based on the Dragon Scale armor used in the Longyuan passenger aircraft. It not only exhibited enhanced physical defense and self-repair capabilities, but also integrated an imperceptible plasma shield generator on its surface. Upon detecting high-velocity projectiles or energy beam attacks, this layer of plasma shield would instantaneously energize, deflecting, or even vaporizing incoming assaults. Lastly, the weapon system. Core Module 4, Qiyu High-Energy Particle Beam Weapon Platform and High-Frequency Vibration Particle Blade. For long range, it featured a handheld high-energy particle cannon directly connected to the reactor for power. One shot could not only penetrate a tank, but could also burn through an aircraft carrier's deck. In close combat, it wielded a high-frequency vibration particle blade named Chang'e. Utilizing high-frequency sound waves and particle streams, this blade could sever all known materials at the molecular level. Cutting iron like mud was merely the most rudimentary task before this technology. How terrifying! Yi Bai gazed at the astonishing data, feeling nothing but shock and awe. Since the technology was now mature, it was time to commence production. In the high-tech factory, rows of long-dormant precision robotic arms instantly awakened. The specialized smelting furnace roared to life. Countless rare strategic metals transformed into molten iron under intense heat, which was then poured into molds, shaped by the force of a 10,000-ton press into individual components. The most critical micro-cold fusion reactor was assembled in a completely vacuum-sealed, dust-free independent laboratory by several nanometer precision intelligent robots. Time flew swiftly by. A month passed in the blink of an eye. The main assembly workshop's door of the high-tech factory slowly opened. Yi Bai stood atop a massive observation platform, gazing down below. Bathed in the spotlight, a humanoid mech, towering at 4 meters, displayed a profound matte black exterior, with sharp, flowing lines exuding industrial aesthetics, standing silently. Its electronic eyes glowed a fierce crimson, and the chest reactor pulsed like a heartbeat in a deep blue hue, adding an air of mystery. This was extraordinarily impressive. Yi Bai couldn't help but exclaim, his fervor nearly overflowing. This was the romance of a man. This was a true war machine. Compared to it, what previously seemed thrilling, sports cars, airplanes, now paled in comparison. Suppressing the urge to revel in the moment, Yi Bai took a deep breath and picked up the red encrypted phone. Beep beep. The phone rang twice before being swiftly answered. Comrade Yi Bai, it's me. The familiar and steady voice of Old Long resonated from the receiver. Although his tone was calm, Yi Bai could sense an undercurrent of anticipation. Reporting to Old Long. The Chang'e tactical mech has been completed. What? On the other end, Old Long's voice rose an octave, brimming with incredulity and astonishment. You've completed it already. So soon. How long has it been? Since the South Heaven Gate project was classified as top secret, it's only been a few months, hasn't it? This is a mech. The ultimate weapon for individual combat that exists solely in sci-fi films and fantasies. Not a mere plaything. Yes, Old Long Yi Bai affirmed. The prototype is fully assembled. All systems have passed self-checks, and it is ready for combat testing at any moment. Good, 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 Old Long exclaimed thrice, unable to conceal his excitement. Stay put. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming right over. I must see this magnificent creation for myself. Shortly after hanging up, the roar of massive helicopter rotors resounded above the high-tech factory. Several armed helicopters, adorned in military green camouflage and escorted by fighter jets, gradually descended onto the factory's helipad. Chapter 410. The Chungying Mech, terrifying indeed. The cabin doors opened, and Old Long, accompanied by Commander Nye and several close bodyguards, swiftly disembarked. This time, for the sake of confidentiality, there were no throngs of experts or scholars. Only Old Long, Commander Nye, and a few core military officials. Old Long. Yi Bai approached eagerly. No need for pleasantries. Old Long waved his hand, his gaze urgently bypassing Yi Bai to focus on the tightly shut door of the assembly workshop. Quick! Take me to see it. Without further ado, the group swiftly entered the workshop. When the entirely black Chungying Mech, exuding a chilling aura of impending destruction, finally came into view, even the seasoned Old Long and Commander Nye, accustomed to grand spectacles, found themselves momentarily breathless. The overwhelming sense of pressure was simply too intense. Is this the Chungying? Commander Nye gazed up at the 4-meter-tall steel giant, his throat feeling somewhat dry. Indeed. Yi Bai nodded. This is not the place for discussion. Having weathered numerous storms, Old Long quickly regained his composure and decisively declared immediate relocation to the No. 1 secret testing ground in the Central Theater. I want to witness its combat capabilities firsthand. An hour later, at a top-secret base deep within the mountains of the Central Theater Command. This secluded location, surrounded by sheer cliffs, serves as the ideal site for classified weapon testing. The Chungying Mecha is positioned at the center of the testing ground, encircled by an array of testing instruments and targets. Yi Bai stands before the control panel, addressing the assembled leaders, including Old Long and Commander Nye, with a detailed introduction. Esteemed leaders, the core power of the Chungying Mecha is derived from a miniature cold fusion reactor, endowing it with near-limitless endurance and formidable power output. Upon hearing the term cold fusion, both Old Long and Commander Nye's pupils constrict in unison, exchanging a glance that reveals their mutual astonishment. This is the holy grail of energy technology. How could this young man have mastered it and integrated it into a mecha? Its defense system employs adaptive phase armor, complemented by a plasma shield, rendering it capable of withstanding the majority of conventional weapon attacks currently in existence. In terms of armament, it is equipped with high-energy particle beam cannons and high-frequency, vibrating particle blades, allowing for both long-range annihilation strikes and close combat cutting capabilities. Yi Bai paused, then revealed a bombshell. It possesses all-domain combat capabilities, including operations in space. A collective gasp reverberated through the command room, as all present were left awestruck by Yi Bai's revelations. This is no mere individual weapon. Let us commence the testing immediately. First, we shall assess its defensive capabilities. At Yi Bai's command, several automated cannons surrounding the testing area opened fire. The sound of rapid gunfire echoed as a barrage of armor-piercing rounds rained down upon the Chungying Mecha. However, a shocking scene unfolded. The armor-piercing rounds, capable of penetrating light tank armor, were met with a flash of blue light upon contact with the mecha's surface. All of the bullets were either deflected or vaporized by the intense heat. Not a single scratch marred the surface of the mecha. Is this an energy shield? Commander Nye exclaimed, nearly crushing his binoculars in excitement. Its defensive capabilities are truly invincible. Next, we proceeded to test its offensive power. Yi Bai issued another command, and the Chungying Mecha slowly raised its right arm. The sci-fi-style particle beam cannon charged instantaneously. With a hum, a blinding white light erupted. A retired main battle tank, positioned a kilometer away as a target, was instantly perforated. A colossal explosion followed, transforming the several-ton steel beast into a mass of molten scrap. A single strike to annihilate a main battle tank. This firepower is terrifying, one senior military officer exclaimed. Finally, we evaluated its mobility. The thrusters at the back of the Chungying Mecha erupted with a ghostly blue flame. Boom. The massive frame vanished from sight in an instant. The next moment, it reappeared hundreds of meters above, performing astonishing maneuvers that defied the laws of physics. Sudden stops, sharp turns, supersonic cruising. Its agility surpasses even the most advanced fighter jets. As they beheld the dazzling data displayed on the screen, Old Long and Commander Nye were left utterly speechless. Powerful. Incredibly powerful. Terrifyingly so. The combat prowess exhibited by the Chungying Mecha has completely transcended humanity's current understanding of warfare. Taking a deep breath to steady his tumultuous emotions, Old Long fixated his gaze on the screen depicting the mecha, resembling a divine war deity, and hoarsely inquired, Comrade Yi Bai, what is the estimated cost of this mecha? Upon hearing this question, Commander Nye and several other high-ranking military officials leaned in attentively. No matter how impressive its performance, if the cost is astronomical, it would remain a solitary piece for strategic deterrence, unable to be mass-produced. Yi Bai pondered for a moment, calculating swiftly in his mind. Although the material costs of the cold fusion reactor and phase armor are exceedingly high, considering the advanced production line provided by the system that significantly reduces waste and labor costs. Report, Old Long based on current production processes and raw material prices. The manufacturing cost of a single Qingying mecha is approximately 300 million dragon coins. 300 million. Upon hearing this figure, Old Long and Commander Nya exchanged stunned glances, each reflecting a mix of surprise and delight. Is 300 million expensive? For the average person, it is indeed an astronomical sum. However, for an ultimate individual weapon that integrates cold fusion, energy shields, and particle weaponry, capable of operations in land, air, and even space, this is practically a bargain. Consider that the most advanced 5th-generation stealth fighter jets cost several hundred million, and the Qingying mecha's combat capabilities could surpass those of 5th-generation jets in numerous scenarios. 300 million, Old Long murmured, lightly tapping his fingers on the table, his eyes gleaming with excitement. This price is entirely acceptable. In fact, one might even say it is a tremendous value. Moreover, Yi Bai added, noticing Old Long's enthusiasm, this is merely the current prototyping cost. If we can improve our supply chain and enhance production volume to achieve economies of scale, he paused, extending 2 fingers. If we place a bulk order for 1,000 units, I am confident we can reduce the cost per unit to below 200 million dragon coins. Chapter 411. Let us start with 1,000 Qingying mechas. 200 million. This time, the command room erupted in a flurry of excitement. 200 million per unit? That means the cost of a 5th-generation fighter jet could procure several Qingying mechas. Commander Nye's breath quickened, his eyes ablaze with fervor. If we could assemble a mechanized force of 1,000 Qingying mechas, who in this world could stand against us? The imagery is too exquisite. I can hardly bear to imagine it. Old Long was similarly struck, slamming his hand on the table decisively. All right, 200 million it is. This price is within our means. We must proceed. Let us set a modest goal of producing 1,000 units. The room fell silent, stunned by the proclamation. 1,000 units. That constitutes a 200 billion investment. Despite the substantial amount for a nation's defense budget, this expenditure is undoubtedly justified. However, Old Long's tone shifted as he gazed deeply at Yi Bai. The technological sensitivity of the Qingying mecha is significantly higher, surpassing even that of the Longyuan passenger aircraft and Kunpeng transport aircraft. This is truly a national asset and must not encounter any mishaps. Therefore, it cannot remain under the production of Longyuan Group. After all, Longyuan is still nominally a commercial entity, and with so many eyes and ears, even with military protection, there is bound to be oversight. After a moment of contemplation, Old Long reached a decision. Thus, we shall establish a new military-industrial enterprise. This company will serve as the dedicated platform for the Nantiangmen project, with all core equipment related to the project, such as the Xian NV fighter jet and the Luan bird space carrier, developed and produced under its auspices. As for the equity structure, Old Long glanced at Yi Bai, a gentle smile gracing his face. It will be similar to Longyuan Group. Comrade Yi Bai, you will personally invest your technical expertise for 51% of the shares, granting you absolute operational and decision-making authority. The remaining 49% will be jointly held by the National Treasury and the Long Institute of Science and Technology. The initial funding and subsequent research and development expenses will be fully covered by the state. Upon hearing this decision, Yi Bai felt a wave of emotion wash over him. The nation has bestowed upon him immense trust and support. Not only are they providing financial backing, but also allowing him to hold a controlling stake in this strategic military enterprise. Absolutely, Old Long. Yi Bai straightened his back and solemnly nodded. I will not betray the trust of the nation and its people. I shall expedite the combat readiness of the Qingying mecha. Elder Long nodded in satisfaction, his gaze imbued with expectations for Yi Bai. No problem. Then let us confirm this arrangement. The preparatory work for the new company will commence immediately, with all procedures, qualifications, and confidentiality certifications expedited through the highest priority green channel. At this point, Elder Long's expression turned serious, and he earnestly cautioned, however, Comrade Yi Bai, the matters regarding the Qingying mecha and the new company are currently classified as the nation's top secret. Before formal deployment and public unveiling, absolute confidentiality must be maintained. Not a single word can be leaked to the outside world. You must understand, this is not merely a weapon, it is our trump card. A trump card is to deliver a decisive blow to the enemy at the most critical moment. Yi Bai nodded gravely. Rest assured, Elder Long, I will not falter in maintaining confidentiality. Good, I trust you. Elder Long replied, patting Yi Bai on the shoulder. Everything is arranged. A dedicated person will soon contact you to coordinate the specifics of the new company. For now, take some time to rest and wrap up matters on the Long Yuan side. After bidding farewell to Elder Long and Commander Nya, Yi Bai boarded an armed helicopter and stealthily returned to the high-tech factory under the cover of night. As soon as he returned to his office, before he could even settle into his seat, Yi Bai eagerly picked up the encrypted phone and dialed the number of Wang Zhengwo, COO of Long Yuan Group. After laying the groundwork for so long, it was time to reap the rewards. Hello, Mr. Wang. It's me, Yi Bai stated directly. How did the operation go? How much have we extracted from Boeing and Airbus? On the other end, Wang Zhengwo's voice was laced with barely concealed excitement, even trembling slightly with enthusiasm. Chairman, a resounding victory, an absolute triumph. After you released news about the complications with the Long Yuan passenger aircraft, the stock prices of Boeing and Airbus indeed surged. Following your instructions, we had already positioned ourselves with substantial short positions at high levels. Then, when we suddenly revealed the true production capacity data and the extensive order details, especially the news that those foreign airlines were unable to procure, the market exploded. The stock prices of Boeing and Airbus plummeted, triggering consecutive days of trading halts. This round of short-selling operations, Wang Zhengwo took a deep breath and announced an astonishing figure. After deducting all costs and fees, Long Yuan Group netted a profit of $8 billion. $8 billion. Even though Yi Bai was somewhat prepared, he was still taken aback by this figure. That's pure profit. Converted to Long Yuan coins, that's over 500 billion. The speed of this profit is simply swifter than a printing press. Excellent, excellent. Well done. Yi Bai generously praised him. Inform everyone involved in this operation that their bonuses will be doubled. Everyone will share in this success. After hanging up with Wang Zhengwo, Yi Bai swiftly contacted Wang Li from Baidun Group. Compared to Long Yuan Group, Baidun was a pure private enterprise, and Wang Li's operations during this action were even sharper and more aggressive. Manager Yi, we've made a fortune, an absolute windfall. As soon as the call connected, Wang Li's voice, filled with excitement, almost squealed through the line. Not only did we short the U.S. stock market, but we also wielded leverage in the options market with devastating effect, coupled with General Zhang's funding arrangements. Manager Yi, can you guess how much we've earned this time? Yi Bai chuckled. Cut the suspense and tell me the number. $120 billion. Wang Li's voice trembled with excitement. And that's a conservative estimate. If we factor in the subsequent trailing orders, this figure could increase even further. $120 billion. Adding to Long Yuan Group's $8 billion, this operation alone has yielded cash profits of $200 billion. That's over 1,000 billion Long Yuan coins. Yi Bai let out a long sigh, reclining in his chair, feeling the weight that had been pressing on him finally lift. The $33 billion in debts at home instantly seemed trivial in light of this immense sum. Furthermore, all his personal savings had been invested in this venture. And based on this profit ratio, his personal fortune had surged to a staggering figure. He had achieved complete financial freedom. Chapter 412. The Impact of Short Selling. Value Shock Source. Just as Yi Bai was reveling in his newfound wealth, his phone vibrated again. The caller ID displayed Jiang Chimo. Yi Bai answered the call with a smile. Hello, still awake this late? Are you too excited to sleep? Yi Bai, you are incredible. You are like the reincarnation of the god of wealth. Jiang Chimo's voice on the other end was filled with ecstatic incoherence. Do you know? I just checked my account. And the money I invested alongside you has multiplied several times. A net gain of over 10 billion. Over 10 billion. Hearing her excited exclamations, Yi Bai couldn't help but smile knowingly. Calm down, calm down. This is just the beginning. There will be plenty of opportunities for making big money in the future. Yes. Yes. From now on, I'm going to cling to you. You won't be able to shake me off. Jiang Chimo joyfully declared. By the way, to celebrate this huge profit, I'll treat you to dinner tomorrow. You choose the place. Don't be polite. Upon hearing her excited yet somewhat coy invitation, Yi Bai's lips curled into a slight smile, feeling a stir in his heart. For the past while, he had been consumed by work on the Long Yuan passenger aircraft, the Kunping transport aircraft, and the recently completed Chongqing Mecha, hardly having a moment to relax. Moreover, he certainly missed Jiang Chimo, who was a paragon of beauty and charm. Since a fair lady had extended an invitation, it was only fitting to accept graciously. All right, since Miss Jiang, the wealthy lady, is treating, I will gladly partake. Yi Bai teased. But I must choose the place, right? I'll have to pick somewhere expensive to treat you properly. Uffed. As if I could eat you out of house and home. Jiang Chimo retorted boldly. As long as you show up, you can eat whatever you want. Even if you want dragon meat, I'll find a way to get it for you. Let us skip the dragon meat. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Remember to dress handsomely. After hanging up, Yibai began to strategize for the following day. Besides dining and indulging in their mutual affections, he was also mindful of another pressing matter, Leidong electric vehicles. Since the launch of Leidong electric vehicles, quite some time had passed. Although he had heard Jiang Chimo mention it briefly, he had not inquired in detail about the progress or any challenges faced. After all, Leidong electric vehicles was a crucial part of his business blueprint, and the opportunity to meet tomorrow was perfect for discussing it with Jiang Chimo. Once these trivial matters were settled, Yibai instinctively summoned the system panel to assess his current assets. However, when his gaze fell upon the shock value section, he was momentarily taken aback. 300 million. Yibai rubbed his eyes to confirm he wasn't mistaken. Current shock value, 305482190, over 300 million in shock value. I remember that before constructing the Chang'e Mecha, the shock value had nearly been exhausted, hadn't it? Yibai murmured in surprise to himself. In this past month, while I was engrossed in building mechas, I haven't engaged in any earth-shattering activities. How has this shock value surged as if propelled by a rocket? With a hint of curiosity, Yibai unlocked his phone and opened several mainstream news apps and social media platforms. Upon his glance, a sudden realization struck him. It turned out that all of this was attributed to the short selling against Boeing and Airbus. Although the commercial battle had concluded, its lingering impact continued to ferment online, maintaining a high level of interest. The top spots on the trending search list were nearly monopolized by related keywords. Longyuan Group raked in billions of dollars. Yibai, I said I would bring you to ruin, and I did. Boeing and Airbus's stock prices plummeted, with market values evaporating into the billions. Following Yishun, I achieved financial freedom. Entering the comment section was akin to stepping into a grand carnival of the internet. Wow, Yishun is incredible. He truly delivers on his promises. He said he would bankrupt Boeing and Airbus this year, and just a few months later, both giant stock prices are almost non-existent. How ruthless. Haha. Who said Yishun was merely a PPT car manufacturer? Are they feeling embarrassed? Not only did he produce a car, but he also effortlessly toppled his competitors. This is a dimensional strike. Thank you, Yishun. I believed in you and shorted the stocks. Now I've bought a new car and am ready to travel the world. Yishun is my savior. Of course, amidst the chorus of praise, there were also numerous piercing curses. Those who had previously been skeptical or misled by so-called experts, who had bought into Boeing and Airbus stocks at high prices, were now lamenting in the comment section, as if mourning the loss of a loved one. Yibai, you scoundrel. May you suffer a terrible fate. Return my hard-earned money. This is market manipulation. I will report you to the Securities Regulatory Commission. I will sue you in international court. What nonsense, Dragon Yuan aircraft, it must be fake. It's just to lure us into buying. Besides these unfortunate investors, some familiar IDs, the hired hands of the 1450 and anti-national factions, were frantically stirring the pot, attempting to tarnish Yibai and the nation's technological achievements. Another self-indulgent news piece. How could a century-old enterprise like Boeing or Airbus be defeated by a newly established small company? They must have stolen technology. People from the Dragon Country love to boast. What supersonic passenger aircraft? It looks like a large model that can't fly. Such behavior that disrupts the international market order will eventually face sanctions from the international community. Just wait for Yibai to be disgraced. Watching these chaotic comments, Yibai felt no anger. Instead, he couldn't help but be amazed. Goodness, these people are truly dedicated, still managing to find angles to criticize amidst such turmoil. However, regardless of the insults, these negative emotions and controversies ultimately transformed into tangible shock value, continuously flowing into his system account. Curse away. The more you rant, the more I profit. Yibai turned off his phone, a playful smile curling at the corners of his mouth. With 3 billion shock value as a foundation, coupled with the imminent arrival of $200 billion, his confidence soared to new heights. The upcoming bomber modification plan could now be put on the agenda. Unbeknownst to him, he was about to modify the third B-class vehicle. He wondered if he could also upgrade an A-class warship. Soon, Yibai recalled Sun Ling. Since the troubles in the Yi family began, his mother, Lin Shushua, had made the painful decision to separate the two of them to avoid dragging Sun Ling down. Although Yibai had unwaveringly chosen Sun Ling, this matter had always been like a thorn in her heart, leaving her restless and somewhat melancholic during this period. Previously, to ease her mind, Yibai had intentionally sent her on a trip to distract her from overthinking. Now, with the family's debt crisis resolved, it was time to share this good news with her, allowing her to rest easy. Chapter 413, A Call from Yuantong, a Prince's Coup. Yi Bai picked up his phone and dialed Sun Ling's video call. Beep, beep. Within moments, Sun Ling's youthful and charming face appeared on the screen. Though she wore light makeup, it could not conceal the faint sorrow etched in her brows. Yi Bai? Upon seeing him, Sun Ling's eyes instantly sparkled. Her genuine surprise impossible to disguise. Why are you calling me at this time? Aren't you busy? No matter how busy I am, I must call my wife. Yi Bai replied, gazing at the beauty on the screen, his heart brimming with tenderness. Have you missed me? Sun Ling's cheeks flushed, and she shot him a playful glare, feigning annoyance. Who's your wife? Stop joking. Hurry up and tell me if something's wrong. Indeed, there is something significant. Yi Bai's smile faded as he regarded Sun Ling earnestly. Linger, the matters at home have been resolved. Resolved? Sun Ling seemed taken aback, momentarily unable to comprehend. What has been resolved? I've earned enough money. There's no need to worry about the debts, Yi Bai articulated clearly. Our Yi family is safe. Really? Sun Ling gasped, covering her mouth, her eyes instantly brimming with tears. During this time, although she had not been by Yi Bai's side, she had been anxiously worrying for the Yi family's fate, fearing that one day she would wake up to hear the news of their complete bankruptcy and Yi Bai burdened with enormous debts. Hearing Yi Bai say that everything was fine, the overwhelming sense of relief almost brought her to joyful tears. Indeed, more genuine than gold, Yi Bai said gently. So, if you have nothing to do in the next few days, you can come back. You've had enough fun out there, right? I'm currently swamped and could use a mistress to help manage the household. Get lost. Who would manage your household? Sun Ling laughed through her tears, shooting him another playful glare, though the smile in her eyes was unmistakable. Then I'll buy a ticket to come back tomorrow. All right, I'll wait for you. After hanging up, the last heavy stone in Yi Bai's heart finally fell away. However, just then, his phone vibrated again. The caller ID displayed an unfamiliar international number. Yi Bai's heart raced as he answered the call. Hello, Yi Shun. It's me, Yuan Tong. The familiar yet slightly excited voice came through the line. Yuan Tong. Yi Bai was somewhat surprised. Why are you calling me now? How is the situation with the prince? Are those firefighting equipment still functional? Functional. They're fantastic. Simply miraculous. Yuan Tong exclaimed excitedly. Yi Shun, you absolutely won't believe what has happened. Prince Anoclis. Oh no, he should now be called His Majesty the King, has successfully staged a coup. A coup? A king? Yi Bai was utterly bewildered. While he understood that the firefighting equipment was formidable, he had merely hoped it would help the prince protect himself. How could it be that so little time had passed, and this lad had seized the throne? Was this even plausible? Yi Bai couldn't help but ask. He overthrew his brothers with those extinguishers? Not just overthrew, it was a complete rout. Yuan Tong smirked, his tone laden with a hint of pride. Yi Shun, you have no idea. Those so-called firefighting tools of yours, in actual combat, are more powerful than some legitimate military forces. That portable rocket launcher extinguisher, one shot, and the opposing armored vehicle was reduced to scrap. And that firefighting machine gun, combined with the dimensional strike from the Inglong nest in the sky, before those two princes' armies even reached us, they were thoroughly decimated by our firefighting team. They didn't even put up a decent fight. Now, Anoclis has seized control of the palace and the capital. His two brothers have been captured. The old king, under pressure, has announced his abdication in favor of Anoclis. You should see it on the news tomorrow. Listening to Yuan Tong's description, Yi Bai was left speechless. By the way, Yi Shun, Yuan Tong continued, His Majesty the new king has asked me to convey his gratitude for your support in fire safety. In due time, he may officially visit the Dragon Kingdom in his capacity as king. At that moment, he will also sign a substantial contract with our Cloud Sky technology, aiming to comprehensively upgrade the national fire safety system. All right, I understand, Yi Bai chuckled. Let him come. Cloud Sky Technology warmly welcomes major clients. After hanging up the phone, Yi Bai shook his head in resignation. Initially, he merely intended to sell some fire extinguishers for extra income, but inadvertently, he had facilitated the rise of a king. This plotline would be deemed too far-fetched even for a television drama. It seems that the business of civilian technology is becoming increasingly promising. The following day, Yi Bai opened his phone and searched online. Indeed, news about a coup in a certain country and the imminent ascension of the new king was flooding the media. Astonishing turn of events. Prince Anoclis launched a royal fire drill, seizing control of the capital overnight. Shocking. Civilian fire equipment has become a tool of coup d'etat? What transpired that night? Cloud Sky Technology in the eye of the storm. Is it aiding agriculture or covertly supplying arms? Yi Bai clicked on one of the detailed reports and quickly skimmed through the account of the military coup. The article described how, just last night, Prince Inaklas mobilized his newly restructured Royal Fire Brigade under the pretense of a comprehensive fire safety inspection, conducting surprise checks on several critical military strongholds and the residences of the other two princes. Initially, the guards of the other two princes dismissed the group, clad in firefighting gear and driving red-painted vehicles. However, when the conflict erupted, their worldviews shattered. The portable rocket-powered fire extinguishers obliterated what was considered a key defensive asset, the armored vehicles, reducing them to scrap metal, with the ammunition inside detonating in a catastrophic explosion. The firefighting machine guns mounted atop the fire trucks suppressed any attempts at resistance from the guards. Even more terrifying, above them, several enormous Inglong H-60 aerial command centers circled like harbingers of death, unleashing swarms of small drones that precisely eliminated command nodes and heavy fire points on the ground. The entire ordeal resembled not a battle but a one-sided massacre. Within mere hours, the two princes, who once wielded considerable military power and felt assured of victory, found themselves utterly defeated and captured in this so-called fire drill. Gazing at the news images of the capital engulfed in flames and the wreckage of the armored vehicles strewn across the streets, Yibai couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. Goodness, this was relentless. While he knew his equipment was formidable, he had not anticipated such an outrageous performance in actual combat. This was nothing short of a dimensional strike. At that moment, the domestic online discourse surrounding the incident had reached a fever pitch. Wow, Cloud Sky technology is incredible. Previously, I thought selling firefighting equipment domestically was an overkill, but who knew it could transform into an arms dealer abroad? What do you mean, firefighting equipment? This is clearly a mass destruction weapon in civilian disguise. That rocket launcher fire extinguisher looks even more ferocious than an RPG. Haha, you're clearly unaware. Yibai was the man who previously crafted Iron Man and Gundam. This is child's play for him. Think about it, brothers. Those previous black technologies were likely commandeered by the military. What's leaking out now may just be the outdated technology that Yibai discarded. Confirmed. Yibai is the Iron Man of the Dragon Kingdom. Cloud Sky technology is the real-life Stark Industries. Netizens' imaginations ran wild, and various analytical and meme posts proliferated, propelling the popularity of Cloud Sky technology and Yibai to new heights. Internationally, this fire-based coup also stirred a significant uproar. The White House spokesperson promptly issued a vehement statement, condemning certain nations for selling military-grade weapons under the guise of civilian trade to unstable regions. This behavior severely undermines regional peace and stability. We demand that the nation immediately cease such irresponsible actions and submit to an international inquiry. Following suit, the Foreign Ministry of Japan echoed their concerns, expressing deep regret over this covert arms sale, labeling it a blatant violation of international treaties. They called for the international community to collectively resist the dangerous proliferation of such technologies. In the face of Western nations' accusations and slander, the response from the Dragon Kingdom's foreign ministry exuded confidence. First, we must clarify that all products exported by Cloud Sky Technology are legitimate civilian fire safety equipment, possessing complete export qualifications and certifications, fully compliant with international trade regulations. As for the so-called arms accusations from certain countries, they are utterly baseless. If these were indeed arms. The spokesperson paused, a knowing smile gracing their lips amid a barrage of flashing cameras. Then the current situation would likely not be as simple as a coup d'etat. Given the strength of our military-industrial capabilities, if we were truly selling arms, certain individuals should be more concerned about whether they can maintain their thrones rather than making unfounded claims. This response not only denied the accusations, but also subtly showcased their military prowess, mocking the Western nations' paranoia, thereby igniting a firestorm of public discourse both domestically and internationally. Much to the satisfaction of countless netizens in the Dragon Kingdom, Yibai observed the news and comments on his phone, a faint smile curling at the corners of his mouth. This was a dual victory. He not only profited, but also brought honor to his nation. The shock value was bound to soar. Setting his phone down, Yibai instinctively summoned the system panel, as a long string of numbers appeared before his eyes. Even with prior anticipation, his heart skipped a beat. Current shock value, 523684910, 500 million. Yibai couldn't help but gasp. This growth rate was akin to riding a rocket. Just yesterday, the figure was just over 300 million, and now, spurred by the fire drill in Camelot and the international media's reaction, it had surged by over 200 million, surpassing the 500 million mark. Moreover, watching the ever-increasing numbers, Yibai knew this was far from the endpoint. Now, whether for modifying bombers or the subsequent Southern Sky Gate project, The shock value was more than sufficient. In high spirits, Yibai closed the system panel, tidied up briefly, and then drove to Jiang Chumo's residence in the capital. Although he was now a billionaire, as his car slowly entered the prime villa district in the heart of the imperial capital, where every inch of land was precious, and stopped in front of a grand, elegantly decorated standalone villa, he couldn't help but be astonished by the Jiang family's impressive investment. Goodness, this location, this size, this ambience. Yibai marveled at the mansion before him, which rivaled a manor. The Jiang family was indeed formidable. Possessing such a large villa in the capital was not merely a matter of wealth. Jiang Chumo, who had been waiting at the door, shot him a disapproving glance upon hearing his remarks. Enough with the flattery. Even if the Jiang family is impressive, compared to you now, it's a mere drop in the ocean. You are a super-rich tycoon worth hundreds of billions of dollars and a strategic talent for the nation. Our family must rely on you to prosper. As she spoke, she naturally linked her arm with Yibai's and asked while walking inside, "So, what do you want to eat today? I've made a reservation. Shall we go out together?" Yibai halted his steps, turning his head to gaze intently at the enchanting beauty beside him. Today, Jiang Chumo was evidently dressed with great care. Her impeccably tailored fitted gown accentuated her graceful figure, while her exquisite makeup rendered her stunningly beautiful. Dinner? Yibai shook his head, a mischievous smile curling at the corners of his mouth. The question of dining was of little importance at the moment. What? Not having dinner? Jiang Chumo paused, her expression one of confusion. Then what do you wish to do? Before she could finish her sentence, Yibai suddenly reached out and swept Jiang Chumo off her feet, cradling her in his arms. "Ah!" Jiang Chumo exclaimed in surprise, instinctively wrapping her arms around Yibai's neck, her cheeks flushing a deep crimson. "What are you doing? Put me down. Someone will see us. This is your home. Who could possibly see us?" Yibai replied, striding purposefully towards the second floor of the villa. "I simply wish to test the comfort of the grand bed in this luxurious mansion." You scoundrel!" Jiang Chumo quickly grasped Yibai's intention, her embarrassment causing her ears to burn. She playfully pounded her fists against his chest, though her feeble attempts felt like mere tickles to Yibai, whose physical prowess had long surpassed human limits due to systematic enhancement. "Why bother with modesty when it comes to my own wife?" Yibai chuckled, kicking open the bedroom door and gently tossing the beauty onto the expansive, soft European-style bed. He then pounced on her with the fervor of a hungry tiger. As Jiang Chumo prepared to resist, her lips were claimed by his in a dominating kiss, transforming all protests into muffled whimpers. Chapter 415. Sun Ling returns to join the fray. Sunlight filtered through the sheer curtains, casting a soft glow in the room, adding a touch of haze to their revelry. The scent of wet southern flowers filled the air. Jiang Chumo initially lost track of time, her body weary and her legs trembling uncontrollably, her voice turning hoarse. In stark contrast, Yibai appeared invigorated and unsated, reclining against the headboard with a devilish grin as he watched her. "What are you staring at, beast?" Jiang Chumo scolded. Though her words lacked venom, she reached for a pillow to hurl at him, but discovered she could barely lift her arms. "Is this all you can manage?" Yibai leaned closer, planting a kiss on her sweaty forehead. "I'm only just warming up. Get away. Are you even human?" Jiang Chumo lamented, on the verge of tears. "I feel like I'm falling apart. And you say you're just warming up?" At that moment, Yibai's phone on the bedside table rang. He picked it up to find it was Sun Ling calling. Upon answering, he hadn't the chance to speak before Sun Ling's slightly fatigued, yet excited voice came through. "Yibai, I've arrived in the capital. Where are you?" "What? So soon?" Yibai responded in astonishment. "Didn't you just buy the ticket today? I wanted to see you sooner, so I bought a ticket overnight and rushed here." Sun Ling pouted. "Send me your address. I'll take a cab to you." Glancing at the exhausted Jiang Chumo beside him, an audacious idea sparked in Yibai's mind. He promptly sent her the villa's address. Half an hour later, a weary Sun Ling rang the doorbell. The moment she stepped into the villa and laid eyes on Yibai, all her fatigue vanished as she leaped into his arms. "I've missed you so much." However, before she could finish her expression of longing, Yibai scooped her up and began to carry her away again. "Hey, Yibai, what are you doing? Whose room is this?" Half an hour passed. Yibai, filled with a sense of accomplishment, sighed with a hint of longing. Gradually, the atmosphere in the room grew warm and intimate as they savored this rare moment of togetherness. "Ling-er," Yibai broke the silence. "I plan to return to Huadu tomorrow. Will you accompany me?" At his words, Sun Ling, who had been curled up like a kitten in his embrace, stiffened slightly, raising her head with a hint of confusion sparkling in her eyes. "Back to Huadu? So suddenly? What is the purpose?" "Of course, it's to attend to important matters." Yibai replied with a smile. "Having earned enough money, I intend to resolve all the mess back home, repay the debts, reclaim the confiscated houses and cars, and reopen the Yi Group. He paused, his gaze softening as he looked deeply into Sun Ling's eyes. And most importantly, I want to take you to meet my mother and clear up any misunderstandings from the past. Upon hearing this, Sun Ling's expression dimmed, and her previously rosy cheeks paled slightly. She bit her lip, remaining silent for a long time. The memory was not a pleasant one for her. At a time when the Yi family was on the brink of collapse, Yi Bai's mother, Lin Shushua, had coldly approached her, uttering harsh words that forced her to leave Yi Bai, insisting it was for her own good to avoid being burdened by the family's massive debts. Though she understood Lin Shushua's intentions were well-meaning, the feeling of being forcibly pushed away and having her feelings questioned still pricked at her heart like a thorn. After a considerable pause, Sun Ling finally spoke, her voice low and subdued. I don't blame your mother for what she said back then. Really. I know she meant well, wanting to protect me from the suffering and debt that came with being with you. After all, in that situation, hope was nowhere in sight. As she spoke, her voice quivered, and tears brimmed in her eyes as she looked at Yi Bai with a heart-wrenching expression. But I never wanted to leave you. Whether wealthy or in debt, I only wished to be with you. Why did she have to pressure me like that? Seeing Sun Ling's hurt, yet resolute demeanor, Yi Bai's heart ached. He pulled her close, resting his chin on her forehead, softly comforting her. I know. My Ling is the most wonderful girl in the world. How could she be swayed by wealth? My mother was simply too anxious and frightened at that time, leading her to make such a foolish decision. It's all in the past now, Ling. Yi Bai gently patted her back, soothing her as one would a child. Our family is fine now, the debts are repaid, and all difficulties have been resolved. When we return, I will ensure she properly apologizes to you. From now on, we will be a family, never to be separated again, all right? Jiang Chumo, witnessing the scene, felt a wave of emotions wash over her. As a woman, seeing the man she loved display such deep affection for another woman stirred a hint of jealousy within her. Yet, she recognized the significant place Sun Ling held in Yi Bai's heart and admired the girl's unwavering courage during his most trying times. She reached out, taking Sun Ling's somewhat cold hand, and gently said, Yes, Ling, Yi Bai is right. It's all in the past. Your mother was simply acting out of maternal love. Perhaps her methods were misguided, but her intentions were good. Now that the storm has passed, let us not dwell on unhappy memories. With Yi Bai as our provider, you can look forward to a life of ease. Jiang Chumo made a light-hearted joke, attempting to lighten the mood. Chapter 416. Thunderous fury on the road. Under the comforting words of both women, Sun Ling's emotions gradually settled. She sniffed, wiped away her tears, nuzzled into Yi Bai's embrace, and gently nodded. All right, let us go back. I miss your mother a bit too. Though she still felt some lingering discomfort, she understood that Lin Shushua was Yi Bai's mother, and she was a family member she would inevitably have to face. Having chosen Yi Bai, she knew she must embrace all that came with him. Such a good girl, Yi Bai smiled, placing a kiss on her cheek. Rest well tonight, for we shall set forth at dawn. As evening descended, a thunderous vehicle halted at the entrance of a bustling alley in the capital. Yi Bai, Jiang Chumo, and Sun Ling disembarked, entering a quaint roadside eatery that bore the marks of time. Is this truly what you, the affluent Yi, have chosen to treat us with? Jiang Chumo remarked, surveying the somewhat chaotic surroundings and greasy tables, unable to suppress her jest. With your fortune in the hundreds of billions, how can you still be so frugal? Yi Bai pulled out a chair and sat down, chuckling as he replied, you fail to grasp the essence of it. This is the warmth of humanity, the most comforting to the heart of mortals. While the cuisine in five-star hotels may be exquisite, it ultimately pales in comparison to the authenticity of a humble diner. Sun Ling, quite at ease in this environment, diligently prepared bowls and chopsticks for her companions. Smiling as she said, I find this quite delightful. The flavors here are exceptional. All right. You two are in perfect harmony, and I cannot argue against you. Jiang Chumo responded with a resigned shake of her head before taking a seat. As dishes were served, the trio engaged in lively conversation. After several rounds of drinks, Yi Bai set down his chopsticks and broached the matter at hand. By the way, Chumo, what is the current status with Thunder? Upon mentioning Thunder, Jiang Chumo's previously languid demeanor transformed into one of vibrant enthusiasm, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Incredible. Simply astonishing, she exclaimed, placing her chopsticks down. Yi Bai, your Thunder Eye model is nothing short of a marvel. Since the last pre-sale went off the charts, our production capacity, albeit climbing, still lags far behind the surge in orders. The domestic market is in a frenzy, with its 1,500-kilometer range and 0 to 100 kilometers in 18 seconds. We've left our competitors utterly astounded. I hear that over at Tequila, Max has smashed several vases in his office, hastily announcing price cuts, yet to no avail. Everyone sees clearly. With Thunder, who would still opt for those subpar models? The situation at Dami Auto is even worse. Their CEO initially hoped to rival us with marketing and an ecological chain, but with Thunder's emergence, their order cancellation rate has skyrocketed to 80. I've heard that their CEO is now posting bizarre motivational quotes on Weibo, likely due to a crumbling mindset. Listening to Jiang Chumo's report, Yibai merely nodded, revealing little surprise. Everything was as he had anticipated. The technological advantage of Thunder I was overwhelming, creating a generational gap. Have they responded in any way? For instance, seeking collaboration or engaging in underhanded tactics? Yibai inquired. Of course. Jiang Chumo scoffed. During this period, my phone has been inundated with calls from those automotive executives, all eager to negotiate partnerships, purchase our battery technology, motor technology, and some even express interest in direct investments, particularly Tequila, which has offered an exorbitant sum for our solid-state battery licensing. Dami Auto has proposed some joint development ventures. At this point, Jiang Chumo glanced at Yibai, her gaze questioning. However, I have turned them all down, just as you advised. Well done, Yibai affirmed, his tone resolute and devoid of any room for negotiation. The principle remains: never collaborate. Stand firm. The technology we have painstakingly developed is not to be shared lightly. Want our technology? Then they should endeavor to develop it themselves. They must not always seek shortcuts or opportunistically pluck the fruits of our labor. The current automotive market is a battlefield of survival. Mercy towards foes is cruelty towards oneself. Since we have established an undeniable advantage, we must seize the moment and decisively quell our rivals. They must pay for their past actions. Jiang Chumo nodded in agreement. I share your sentiment. With the core technology firmly in our grasp, we need not cater to their whims. However, she paused, her brow furrowing slightly. While we have become invincible in the domestic market, the international landscape appears more intricate. How so? Yibai asked. Thunder's reputation abroad is remarkably strong. Many international consumers sing its praises, and orders continue to soar. However, those Western nations are evidently growing anxious. They have begun to wield national power against us. In America, the Department of Commerce has placed us on an entity list, prohibiting any American companies from supplying us with chips and software services. Although our core technologies are self-developed, this will inevitably impact the supply of some non-core components. The European Union is no less aggressive, contemplating a counter-subsidy investigation against us, preparing to impose hefty punitive tariffs. And some lawmakers even propose outright banning Thunder from the European market, citing national security concerns. At this juncture, Jiang Chumo's frustration was palpable. These bandits resort to underhanded tactics when they cannot compete. It is utterly shameless. Upon hearing this, Yibai merely chuckled disdainfully, exuding an air of indifference. Sanctions? Blockades? Let them come. If they do not wish for us to profit from their markets, then we shall withdraw entirely from America and Europe. What? Withdraw? Jiang Chumo was momentarily taken aback. But the market share there is substantial. Abandoning it just like that seems a pity. Not at all. Yibai shook his head. You must understand one fundamental truth. It is not we who are begging them to buy our cars, but rather they who are reliant on our superior products. Thunder's technology surpasses theirs by at least 2 generations. Not utilizing Thunder and instead driving those expensive, outdated vehicles is their loss, not ours. Chapter 417. Return to the Flower Capital. Moreover, this world is vast. Beyond America and Europe, there are expansive markets in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, as well as our partners along the Silk Road. Let us first conquer these markets, which will yield ample profits. As for those in the West, when they come to us seeking our return, and when they lift those ridiculous sanctions, we shall then consider whether to bestow upon them a few vehicles. Seeing Yibai's commanding demeanor, Jiang Chumo felt her admiration deepen. This was the man she cherished. He possessed integrity and resolve. Very well, I shall heed your counsel, she affirmed with a determined nod. Upon returning, I will instruct my team to announce a complete suspension of operations in America and Europe. Let those self-important Westerners regret their choices. The following morning, Yibai, accompanied by Sun Ling, boarded a flight back to the Flower Capital. Upon landing, the two chose not to inform anyone, taking a taxi directly to the Yi family's villa in the Flower Capital. However, as the taxi came to a halt before the familiar gates, both were taken aback. The once familiar black door had been replaced with a more imposing brass one. Even the nameplate that once read Yi Residence had been removed, replaced by an unfamiliar surname. What is happening here? Sun Ling gazed at the scene in bewilderment. Have uncle and aunt moved? Yi Bai's brow furrowed, a sense of foreboding washing over him. He took out his phone and dialed his father, Yi Nantian. Hello, Dad. Where are you? What has happened to the house? Xiao Bai, came Yi Nantian's weary voice from the other end. Your mother and I are currently residing at the Yunxiao Auto Repair Factory. We sold the house. Sold it. Yi Bai's heart sank. How could it have been sold? Wasn't it said that I would handle the debt issue? With a sigh, Yi Nantian ended the call. Yi Bai put down his phone, his expression darkening. He turned to Sun Ling and said, let us head to the auto repair shop. It had been several months since Yi Bai had last visited the Yunxiao Auto Repair Shop. Upon their arrival, the scene was somewhat desolate. As they pushed open the door, a faint scent of engine oil mingled with the aroma of food wafted towards them. Yi Nantian was seated at a somewhat chipped desk. His brow furrowed as he calculated something with a calculator in hand. Upon noticing Yi Bai's entrance, he set his work aside and mustered a strained smile. Xiao Bai, you're back. Dad, what on earth is going on? Yi Bai surveyed the shabby surroundings, unable to suppress the sorrow swelling within him. How could we have even sold the house? Even if the family is struggling, it shouldn't have come to this. Yi Nantian sighed, rubbing his temples, his tone heavy with resignation. The vampires on Hua Ai Street have been relentless. They not only froze the company's accounts, but also pressured us through various means, even threatening to sue us for malicious asset transfer. Your mother and I discussed it. Money is but a material possession, and we can earn it again. However, those loyal employees who have worked alongside us for a lifetime cannot have their wages delayed. That is their lifeblood. Thus, we sold the house to settle their wages and severance pay. The remaining funds barely suffice to maintain operations here. Listening to his father's words, Yi Bai felt a tumult of emotions. He knew his father was always deeply loyal, preferring to suffer rather than let others be wronged. But he never anticipated they would be driven to such a desperate situation. At that moment, the curtain to the inner room was lifted and a figure emerged, carrying 2 plates of food. Darling, who's here? The voice trailed off abruptly. Yi Bai's gaze fell on the woman before him, awkwardly holding the plates, and his eyes instantly filled with tears. It was his mother, Lin Shushue. In his memories, she was always radiant, clad in elegant kipeos, her hair meticulously styled, her skin maintained to a youthful fairness. She exuded an aura of grace and nobility. But now, the woman standing before him wore a faded old apron, her hair haphazardly tied back with a rubber band, revealing strands of glaring white. Her once plump cheeks had sunken deeply, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes etched like scars, and her gaze betrayed a weariness that was impossible to conceal. The once stunning Lin Shushue seemed to have aged a decade overnight. Mom, Yi Bai choked on his words, hastening forward to take the plates from her hands. I'm back. Lin Shushue looked at her tall and handsome son, tears streaming down her face. She trembled as she reached out, gently touching Yi Bai's face. You're back. That's all that matters. At that moment, her gaze shifted past Yi Bai to the somewhat timid figure standing at the doorway. Ling Er. Lin Shushue's body trembled violently, her tears flowing more freely. In a flurry, she wiped her hands, wanting to step forward, yet hesitated as if fearing rejection. Auntie, I'm so sorry. Lin Chushue's voice was filled with remorse. I was foolish back then. I shouldn't have treated you that way. Shouldn't have forced you to leave Xiao Bai. We, the Yi family, are truly sorry. Seeing this elder, once proud but now rendered humble and haggard for her son, Sun Ling felt her grievances dissipate in an instant. She stepped forward, took Lin Chushue's hand, her eyes reddened as she said, Auntie, please don't say that. I bear you no ill will. Truly, I don't. I know you meant well, wanting to spare me from suffering. It wasn't your fault. It was a situation beyond our control. As long as you and Yi Bai are well, I care for nothing else. Hearing Sun Ling's understanding words, Lin Shushue wept uncontrollably, embracing Sun Ling as if she were a precious treasure. Good child, you are truly a blessing to our Yi family. Meeting such a wonderful girl like you. After a while, as their emotions began to settle, Lin Shushue released Sun Ling, gazing at her with cautious expectation. Ling Er, do you still wish to call me Mom? Sun Ling's cheeks flushed slightly, but her resolve was unwavering. She looked at Lin Shushue, nodded earnestly, and called out Mom. Oh, Lin Shushue responded, her voice filled with excitement. Once Lin Shushue had taken Sun Ling to the inner room for a heartfelt conversation, Yi Bai finally reined in his smile and turned to the silently smoking Yi Nantian. Dad, what exactly is happening? Yi Nantian took a deep drag of his cigarette, exhaling heavily, his expression growing complicated. He glanced at Yi Bai, extinguished the cigarette, and rose to his feet. This is not a place for discussion. Let us step outside. The father and son made their way to the backyard of the repair shop, where Yi Nantian lit another cigarette. Even though we have repaid 500 million, They are still determined to swallow the Yi family whole. They relentlessly pursue us. They have employed legal measures to freeze our assets and spread word in the community that anyone who assists the Yi family is opposing them. Those so-called relatives and friends of ours, when it comes to this, have scurried away faster than rabbits, let alone offer help. Some even take pleasure in our misfortune, eager to step on us for their own gain. At this point, a flicker of anger flashed in Yi Nanshan's eyes, quickly replaced by resignation. Our cash flow has completely collapsed. The workers need to eat and support their families, to pay their salaries. Your mother and I had no choice but to resort to high-interest loans. Although we sold the house to repay the principal, you know how these people operate. The interest keeps accumulating, and they let us off easily. They have been causing havoc at the shop daily, splattering paint and blocking the entrance, employing every despicable tactic imaginable. It's outrageous. Yi Bai's eyes glinted with cold fury, his fists clenched tightly. Do they think the Yi family is without defenders? But that is not all. Yi Nantian sighed, placing a reassuring hand on Yi Bai's shoulder to calm him. The influence from Hua Ai Street has extended far too long. They are not only attacking us commercially, but have directly approached the Lin family in the capital. The Lin family? Yi Bai's brows furrowed. That was his mother's family, a prominent clan in the capital. Indeed, Yi Nantian nodded. The Lin family has always looked down on me, believing your mother married down, tarnishing their reputation. Now that the Yi family is in trouble, instead of lending a hand, they are using the pressure from Hua Ai Street to humiliate and harass your mother, forcing her to divorce me, and even expelling her from their home. Your mother has endured far too much for this family. With a resounding crash, Yi Bai's fist struck a nearby old locust tree, splintering the bark and sending wood chips flying. This is intolerable. Absolutely intolerable. Yi Bai's eyes blazed with fury, the anger within him erupting like a volcano. The relatives who reveled in their misfortune, the unscrupulous moneylenders, and that lofty Lin family had all crossed his bottom line. Dad, leave this matter to me. Yi Bai took a deep breath, forcing down his rage. His voice turned icy and resolute. As for the loan sharks, I will ensure they repay every penny, with interest, and guarantee they will never dare to show their faces at our doorstep again. As for financial matters, there is no cause for concern. I shall promptly ensure that sufficient funds are transferred into the account of the Yi Group. Whether it be 100 billion or even 200 billion, we are more than capable of repaying it. The situation on Hua Ai Street has shifted from today forth. They need not worry about debt collection anymore, but should rather contemplate how to preserve their own lives. A glint of coldness flashed in Yi Bai's eyes as he spoke of the Lin family in the capital. Once we have tidied up this mess, we shall return to the imperial capital. I am eager to see what qualifications they possess to humiliate my mother. This account shall be settled in full, with interest. Observing his son's fierce and confident demeanor, Yi Nantian felt a moment of astonishment. He was aware that his son had achieved remarkable success. The pre-sale of Thunder electric vehicles had garnered an astonishing 500 billion in deposits, leaving him awestruck for days. But how long has it been since then? Is the remaining 500 billion deficit already filled? Xiao Bai, where did you acquire such wealth? Yi Nantian questioned, incredulous. Although Thunder electric vehicles has gained popularity, that was merely a deposit, and substantial investments were still required for subsequent production. Father, you may have been too busy to notice the news lately. Yi Bai replied with a smile, regaining his composure. In addition to Thunder electric vehicles, I have embarked on another venture. Have you heard of Longyuan Group? Longyuan? Yi Nantian paused, then his pupils dilated in shock. Is it the same Longyuan Group that has developed supersonic passenger aircraft and aims to surpass Boeing and Airbus? Despite his recent troubles, he had caught wind of such monumental news. Indeed, Yi Bai confirmed with a nod. That is my company. I hold a 51% stake, while the remaining 49% belongs to the state and the Long Science Institute. Yi Nantian gasped, his eyes nearly bulging from their sockets. The state holds shares. The Long Science Institute endorses it. My son is the majority shareholder. What an extraordinary arrangement. But that is not all, Yi Bai continued, dropping yet another bombshell. In addition to this, I have other projects. However, those involve military secrets, and I am bound by confidentiality agreements, so I cannot disclose them at present. Furthermore, with Yunxiao Technology, I engaged in a small business deal with the king of the Camel Kingdom, selling firefighting equipment. Firefighting equipment? Yi Nantian was bewildered. Yes, the kind that can extinguish fires while eliminating both enemies and their vehicles, Yi Bai said, a playful smile gracing his lips. That king is scheduled to visit Long Country soon, and he will place a substantial additional order. The profits from that alone will suffice to pay off nearly all our family's debts. Yi Nantian was utterly flabbergasted. Gazing at the familiar yet unfamiliar figure of his son, he felt as if he were deciphering a mystical text. Supersonic passenger aircraft, military secrets. The king of the Camel Kingdom, arms trade. By the way, Dad, remember how Hua AI Street deceived us? I have not been idle either. I collaborated with several capital firms and short-sold Boeing and Airbus. This move not only recouped our debts, but also inflicted significant losses on Hua AI Street. Our next target will be those capital firms from Hua AI Street that once conspired against the Yi family. I will make them pay back every bit they consumed. And double it. Listening to his son's assertive declarations, Yi Nantian felt a long-suppressed anger dissipate significantly. Trembling, he lit another cigarette, took a deep drag, and then burst into laughter. Chapter 419, The Arrival of the Assassins? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Truly, you are my son. You possess audacity and cunning. The Yi family is about to rise again. While Yi Nantian reveled in the shock his son had delivered, his phone suddenly rang insistently from his pocket. He took it out to find it was the finance manager calling. Hello, Lao Zhang, what is it? Yi Nantian answered, his tone steadier than before, though still tinged with excitement. Mr. Yi, tremendous news. The finance manager's voice was sharp and piercing with exhilaration. Just now, a massive sum was transferred into our corporate account. How much? Yi Nantian's heart raced, instinctively glancing at Yi Bai. 600 billion. A full 600 billion long coins. The finance manager was nearly incoherent with excitement. Mr. Yi, with this influx of funds, all our debt crises are resolved in an instant. We even have substantial surplus to restart projects. The Yi Group has been revived. Although he had anticipated this, Yi Nantian's hand trembled at the mention of 600 billion. He took a deep breath, suppressing his elation, and responded gravely, understood. Immediately arrange for the urgent debts to be settled first, ensuring workers' wages and suppliers' payments are prioritized. We will address the remaining matters when I return. After hanging up, Yi Nantian turned to Yi Bai, his expression a complex amalgamation of emotions. Xiao Bai, how is it 600 billion? Our debts, including interest, amount to just over 500 billion. The extra 100 billion is reserved for you to manage the company, Yi Bai replied casually, as if it were merely 100 yuan. The Yi Group has been stagnant for so long, it requires funds to resume operations. Moreover, as I mentioned earlier, we need to engage with those from Hua AI Street, and we cannot do so without ammunition. This 100 billion is our first shot in retaliation. Yi Nantian looked at his son, his throat tightening, and all his words ultimately condensed into a long sigh. Very well, good child. I will heed your counsel. The burdens that had weighed heavily upon him lifted as if a mountain had been removed, and Yi Nantian felt considerably lighter, standing taller than before. Xiao Bai, how do you plan to deal with those at Hua AI Street? Do you have a specific strategy? Although I may be older, my years of experience in business can still be of assistance. Yi Bai shook his head. Father, this matter is not urgent. I have yet to fully devise a concrete plan. He hesitated, a hint of helplessness flickering in his eyes. After I resolve the family issues in Huadu, I must return to the capital. There is a multitude of matters awaiting my attention, including the follow-up testing and mass production of the Chongqing Mecha, the establishment of the new company, the interview regarding the Kunpeng transport aircraft, and the imminent visit from the king of the Camel Kingdom. Each of these is significant, and I anticipate a long period of busyness ahead. As for Hua AI Street, vengeance is a dish best served cold. Once I complete these national-level projects, I shall have the capacity to deal with them in due time. Yi Nantian, while somewhat disappointed at the delay in revenge, understood his son's predicament. After all, his son was now a national asset, shouldering immense responsibilities. Very well, focus on your grand endeavors. You need not worry about familial matters, with 100 billion in hand. If I cannot sustain the Yi Group, then all my years in business would have been in vain. As the father and son conversed, a sudden cacophony erupted outside the auto repair shop. Accompanying it were the sounds of heavy objects colliding with the iron gate and the coarse shouts of anger. Yi Nantian, get out here. Debts must be repaid. It is only right. If you do not pay up today, I shall demolish your shabby workshop. Do not think hiding inside will spare you. Brothers, let us storm in. Yi Bai frowned, turning towards the entrance. Through the gap in the iron door, he could see a group of 20 to 30 individuals gathered outside, each adorned with tattoos, brandishing baseball bats, steel pipes, and even machetes, exuding an aura of menace. Who are these people? A glimmer of cold light flashed in Yi Bai's eyes. Yi Nantian's expression shifted, his teeth clenched in rage. Who else could it be? It is those despicable loan sharks. We have clearly repaid the principal, yet they insist that the interest is insufficient, demanding compounded interest. It's an endless abyss. I should have trained my own subordinates and gathered some followers. Now look at this. The tiger has fallen to the plains, only to be bullied by the dogs. They have been harassing us daily, and today they unexpectedly brought so many people. It seems they are serious about it. I mean, with our family's debt in the trillions, would my father, in his madness, resort to high-interest loans? Yibai said, speechless. Sigh, they are the henchmen of the creditors. Just like death warriors. Do you know what a death warrior is? Fed and cared for, year after year, with no demands, like true brothers, and then one day. They are told that their elder brother has been swindled out of a large sum of money. Wouldn't they fight back? Yin and Tian lamented. This was the first time Yibai realized how death warriors were nurtured. Those individuals truly knew how to act ruthlessly. At that moment, Lin Shushue and Sun Ling, alarmed by the commotion, rushed out of the house. Lin Shushue saw the group outside, her face turning ashen, her body trembling involuntarily. Honey, they are back again. The harassment and intimidation from this group had become her nightmare over the past few days. Although Sun Ling was frightened as well, she immediately supported Lin Shushue. Standing in front of her, her gaze resolutely fixed on the door. Don't be afraid, Auntie. Yibai is here. Everything will be fine. Seeing his mother's terrified and helpless expression ignited a blaze of fury within Yibai, and a chilling murderous intent surged in his eyes. Very well. Since you seek your own demise, do not blame me for being ungracious. Dad, Mom, take Linger inside and do not come out. Leave this to me. Xiaobai. Don't be impulsive. There are too many of them, and they are armed. Lin Shushue anxiously grasped Yibai's hand, fearing for her son's safety. Don't worry, Mom. Yibai reassured her with a pat on her hand, a slight smile gracing his lips. These few wretched individuals cannot harm me. Outside, the loan sharks were brazenly arrogant. Yin and Tian, you old turtle, come out. The lead bald man, adorned with a thick gold chain and a brutish face, brandished a machete while shouting, Brothers, put some muscle into it. Smash this rotten door. If we don't get the money today, I'll set this factory ablaze. Finally, the burdened iron door collapsed with a deafening crash, sending dust flying. Haha, we're in. Brothers, charge in. Males to be crippled, females. The bald man grinned maliciously, prepared to lead his men into chaos. However, before he could finish his sentence, a sudden turn of events unfolded. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several shadowy figures, like phantoms, emerged without warning from the shadows surrounding the garage. Their speed was astonishing. Ordinary eyes could scarcely perceive their movements, only catching fleeting glimpses of their silhouettes weaving through the crowd. Chapter 420, Snow Wolf, terrifying indeed. Bang, bang, bang. A series of dull thuds of bodies colliding followed by piercing screams erupted. Those once domineering henchmen now appeared as vulnerable as infants just learning to walk before the shadowy figures. Before they could comprehend what was happening, their weapons were snatched away, and they were sent flying like kites with severed strings, crashing heavily to the ground, some howling while clutching broken arms, others losing consciousness entirely. In less than 10 seconds, more than 20 armed men lay sprawled on the ground, not a single one left standing. Meanwhile, the shadowy figures stood quietly, as if they had merely accomplished a trivial task, their breathing steady and calm. Clad in unmarked black combat uniforms, they exuded an aura of lethal precision. This sudden turn of events left everyone, except Yibai, utterly bewildered. Yin and Tian and Lin Shushue stared in shock at the scene, their minds blank. Sun Ling, equally astonished, covered her mouth in disbelief. The bald leader, now on the ground, bloodied and terrified, exclaimed, Who are you? Do you know who I am? My elder brother is the Black Tiger of the southern city. If you dare to touch me, Black Tiger will never let you go. Yet, the black-clad figures did not even glance in his direction, treating him as though he were merely air. One of them, seemingly the leader, approached Yibai after confirming the threat was neutralized, saluting him sharply. Report, sir. The threat has been eliminated. A secondary sweep of the area is underway to ensure safety. He did not reveal his identity, but his military posture and the aura of lethal intent spoke volumes. The Snow Wolf Special Forces. Yibai nodded, his expression calm. Thank you for your hard work. Simultaneously, another black-clad operative swiftly retrieved an encrypted communication device to report to the superiors. Calling command center. This is the Snow Wolf Shadow Team. Major Yibai has encountered an unidentified armed assault at the Huadu Yunshao Auto Repair Factory. The threat has been neutralized. Requesting instructions. This call, transmitted through layers of encrypted military networks, reached the Southern Theater Command in an instant. What? Yibai was attacked. At that moment, Commander Peng, engrossed in paperwork, slammed his hand on the desk, rising in fury. Outrageous. How could such a national treasure of strategic talent as Yi Bai be assaulted on our turf? What is the law enforcement in Huadu doing? He seized the red secure phone, dialing Major General Long Hantian of the Southern Theater directly. Long Hantian, I command you, immediately, assemble a fully armed regiment and rush to the Huadu Yunxiao Auto Repair Factory, even if you have to turn Huadu upside down. Ensure the absolute safety of Comrade Yi Bai. If a single hair on his head is harmed, I will have your life. Yes, Commander. I assure you the mission will be completed. On the other end, Major General Long Hantian felt a tremor of fear at the command, not daring to delay. He quickly gathered the troops, charging toward Huadu with fierce determination. Meanwhile, at the auto repair factory entrance, the bald man, realizing the black-clad figures were ignoring him and instead making phone calls, felt a chill run down his spine. These individuals were highly skilled and appeared well-trained. Definitely not ordinary bodyguards. Damn it, this is perilous. Retreat. He gritted his teeth against the pain, rallying his remaining men, scrambling into their vehicle, and disappearing in a hurry. The Snow Wolf team members made no effort to stop the escape of such lowly scum. Their mission was solely to protect Yi Bai, and as for these societal vermin, others would handle them. Almost simultaneously, in Huadu, at the municipal building, the newly appointed Secretary Li Jianya was sipping tea in his office when he abruptly received a call from the Southern Theater Command. Before he could utter a courteous remark, Commander Peng's enraged voice erupted from the receiver. Li Jianya, how are you managing as the secretary? Comrade Yi Bai returned to Huadu and was assaulted by armed forces in broad daylight. The security environment in Huadu is utterly deplorable. I tell you, if anything happens to Comrade Yi Bai, not only will your tenure as secretary end, but I will also face repercussions. Li Jianya was left stunned by the furious reprimand. Nearly dropping his teacup, Comrade Peng, please calm down. What exactly happened? Yi Bai? The one behind Yunxiao Technology? Of course. Who else could it be? Commander Peng roared. I must emphasize the significance of his current stature, which surpasses that of 10 of you combined. Hurry and attend to this matter. If you fail, be prepared for repercussions. As the busy signal echoed in his ears, Li Jianya felt cold sweat instantly soak his back. He was well aware of Yi Bai, a prominent figure who had emerged from Huadu and recently stirred considerable commotion. However, he never anticipated that Yi Bai's status had risen to such heights. To provoke the ire of a war zone commander to the extent of mobilizing troops for protection. Quickly, prepare the vehicle. We are heading to Yunxiao Auto Repair Shop. While wiping away his cold sweat, Li Jianya shouted at his secretary. Additionally, immediately notify the city police chief, Zhao Gang. Instruct him to bring all available police forces and accompany me to Yunxiao Auto Repair Shop. A grave incident has occurred. As the group of loan sharks fled in disarray, tranquility returned to the auto repair shop's yard. Yi Bai observed the few tall figures in black attire before him. Exuding an aura of formidable strength, his curiosity piqued. Although he was aware of the shadow unit known as the Snow Wolves that had been discreetly protecting him, this was the first time he had truly witnessed their prowess and true forms. Swift, precise, and ruthless. There were no unnecessary movements. Are you the Snow Wolf Special Forces? Yi Bai inquired, stepping forward to scrutinize the leader among them. Reporting to the chief. The leader snapped to attention, his voice deep and commanding. I am the captain of the Snow Wolf Special Squad, codenamed Lone Wolf, with a rank of captain. I have been assigned to execute a security mission codenamed Sky Shield. Fully responsible for your safety, Lone Wolf. Yi Bai mulled over the codename, nodding as his curiosity about this legendary special force deepened. I have heard that you Snow Wolves are among the most elite special forces in the military. What kind of missions do you typically undertake? How many of you are here this time? Does everyone possess such skills? In response to Yi Bai's barrage of inquiries, Lone Wolf did not provide direct answers. His eyes, concealed behind a tactical mask, discreetly scanned Yin and Tian, Lin Chu Shui, and Sun Ling, who stood behind Yi Bai. Though he said nothing, his meaning was crystal clear. Military secrets, no comment. Especially in the presence of civilians. Yi Bai, a perceptive individual, immediately grasped the implication in Lone Wolf's gaze. He smiled and waved his hand, saying, All right, I won't ask any further. I understand the confidentiality protocols. Lone Wolf slightly nodded. Then, with a serious demeanor, stated, Chief, although we have repelled the attackers, to prevent any further threats or potential dangers, please return indoors immediately with your family and refrain from lingering in open areas. Our team has established a temporary defensive perimeter around the auto repair shop. Furthermore, as this was an undercover operation, we did not carry heavy weaponry. We have urgently contacted the local station troops and police. The main forces are expected to arrive within 10 minutes to thoroughly secure and inspect the surrounding area. In the meantime, Please cooperate with our team to ensure your safety. Upon hearing this, Yi Bai dared not dismiss the gravity of the situation. While he was confident in his physical abilities, there was no need to gamble with the safety of himself and his family. Thank you for your hard work. Yi Bai acknowledged, turning to his astonished parents and son Ling, saying, Dad, Mom, Linger, let us head inside. We can leave this to them. Once inside, with the door closed, the tense atmosphere outside seemed somewhat mitigated. However, the faces of Yinan Tian and Lin Chu Shui remained filled with shock. The previous scene had profoundly impacted them. A few individuals, unarmed, had effortlessly dispatched 30 or more armed assailants. And judging by their demeanor, they were clearly elite troops. Xiao Bai, Yinan Tian gulped, his voice trembling. Who were those people? Why did they address you as chief? Why did they salute you? Though Yi Bai had previously mentioned possessing certain military secrets and hinted at state involvement, Yinan Tian had always assumed his son was merely a technician, at most engaged in some cooperative ventures with the government. Yet, the current scenario evidently exceeded the bounds of mere collaboration. Seeing the bewildered expressions on his parents' faces, Yi Bai felt a mischievous delight. He leisurely approached the worn-out sofa, reclined with his legs crossed, and waved his hand nonchalantly. Oh, Dad, Mom. There's no need to be so tense. It's really not a big deal. My current status is just a bit unique. Yi Bai took a sip of the cool tea on the table and, with an air of casual superiority, continued, After all, I am now a state-certified national treasure-level strategic scientist, overseeing several critical projects that pertain to the nation's fate. The state is concerned for my safety and insists on assigning several individuals as my bodyguards. I have no choice but to accept, much to my chagrin. I initially wished to maintain a low profile, but these individuals insisted on following me as it was a direct order. Alas, being too exceptional can be quite burdensome. Yinan Tian and Lin Chu Shui were momentarily speechless. National treasure? Strategic scientist? No way to refuse. Sun Ling, observing Yi Bai's pretentious demeanor, couldn't help but stifle a laugh, then added in perfect sync, Uncle, Auntie, Yi Bai is being rather modest. In fact, over in the capital, his standing is even more impressive. To protect his high-tech factory, the state has dispatched an entire mechanized infantry regiment, stationed permanently outside the factory. Even satellites are monitoring him 24/7. An entire regiment. Satellite surveillance. At that moment, Yinan Tian and Lin Chu Shui were utterly dumbfounded. Their mouths gaped wide enough to fit an egg. How many people are in a regiment? Over 1,000. All to protect their son alone? This treatment likely rivals that of royal heirs in ancient times. Seeing the utterly shocked expressions on his parents' faces, Yi Bai felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction. Though he feigned a troubled demeanor, sighing. Yes, you see, I currently have no freedom whatsoever. I must report whenever I go out. Even using the restroom, someone is watching. Even making a phone call requires encryption. This constant state of protection truly feels stifling and burdensome. Sometimes, I contemplate requesting a withdrawal of these security measures to experience a few days of ordinary life. Unfortunately, that is not an option. The higher-ups insist that my safety is paramount. Sigh, such is the price of being a national treasure. Yinan Tian and Lin Chu Shui exchanged glances, each perceiving a mutual urge to strangle him. Listen, is this even a reasonable complaint? How many people dream of having such treatment? And this kid dares to resent the lack of freedom? In Huadu, South City, within an underground casino masquerading as a reputable financial service company, a bald man, previously arrogant at the auto repair shop, but now bloodied and disheveled, knelt before a middle-aged man seated in an executive chair, sobbing profusely. Brother Hu, you must stand up for us. He wailed. That Yi family somehow found a group of martial artists. Their skills are simply insane. My brothers barely had a chance to fight back before we were utterly defeated. Brother Hu, look at my head. Look at the state of my brothers. This is not just a blow to our pride. It's a slap in your face. The middle-aged man, known as Brother Tiger, was currently toying with 2 ornamental walnuts in his hands, his expression dark enough to draw water from a stone. Having navigated the underbelly of Huadu for so many years, straddling both the legal and illegal realms, when had he ever suffered such a substantial loss? Useless. They are nothing but a bunch of incompetent fools. Brother Tiger slammed the walnuts onto the table, pointing an accusatory finger at the bald man, unleashing a torrent of curses. How could 20-some individuals, armed to the teeth, be bested by just a handful of opponents? What good is it to have you bunch of freeloaders? And you dare return and weep? What a disgrace. Brother Tiger. It's not that the brothers are incapable. The bald man protested, nearly in tears. Those guys were just too formidable, dressed like special forces and striking with ruthless efficiency. We didn't even stand a chance. Special forces? It seems you are so frightened that you are hallucinating. Brother Tiger scoffed. And Huadu, who was unaware that the Yi family had long since fallen from grace. Who could possibly summon special forces? What a joke. Enough. Stop your wailing. Get out and heal your wounds. I will reclaim this territory sooner or later. Just as Brother Tiger continued his tirade, preparing to make a call for retaliation, the phone on the table suddenly rang. He picked it up, and his countenance shifted dramatically, his menacing demeanor instantly replaced by a sycophantic smile. Hello, Director Wong. What a surprise to receive your call. Do you wish to? Brother Tiger, are you out of your mind? A furious roar erupted from the other end, abruptly cutting off Brother Tiger's pleasantries. This was his greatest protector within the Huadu Police Department, a deputy director with whom he shared a brotherly bond. Yet, at this moment, the deputy's voice was laden with despair. What have you gotten yourself into? You want to die? Don't drag me down with you. Brother Tiger was left stunned. Bewilderment etched on his face. Director Wong, what do you mean? I've been quite honest lately. Aside from collecting debts at the Yi family's crumbling factory, I haven't done anything wrong. Collecting debts? You're courting death. The director's roar resonated loudly. Let me tell you, just now, the municipal party secretary, the mayor, and the commander of the Southern Theater have all personally inquired about this matter. Even the province is alarmed. You've stirred up a hornet's nest. Not even the gods can save you now. What? Brother Tiger nearly dropped his phone, his entire being struck by a thunderbolt. The municipal party secretary? The theater commander? How could this be possible? The Yi family is merely a bankrupt, fallen clan. How could they wield such influence? Director Wong, you have to save me. Save you? I can barely save myself. Suddenly, a cacophony of banging and shouting erupted from the other end of the line. Are you Wong? We are from the Provincial Discipline Inspection Commission. You are suspected of severe disciplinary violations and illegal activities. Come with us. The line went dead. Brother Tiger stared blankly at his phone, listening to the busy signal. A chill surged from his feet to the crown of his head, and he trembled uncontrollably. The Discipline Inspection Commission. His protector had just fallen. Before he could recover from the overwhelming fear, his phone vibrated violently again. On the line was an unfamiliar number. Hello, is this Brother Tiger, the legal representative of Integrity Financial Services? We are from the Municipal Bureau of Industry and Commerce. Your company is suspected of illegal operations, high-interest lending, and numerous other violations. We are formally initiating an investigation against you. Please cease all business activities immediately and submit to inspection. The next call came in. Hello, this is the Tax Bureau. We have received reports that your company is suspected of massive tax evasion. Hello, this is the Fire Department. Your company has serious fire safety hazards and must immediately cease operations for rectification. One call after another, like death warrants, flooded in. The Bureau of Industry and Commerce, the Tax Bureau, the Fire Department, and nearly every relevant authority seemed to have coordinated a simultaneous assault against him. Brother Tiger was utterly bewildered. He slumped in his executive chair, his phone slipping from his grasp, his eyes vacant and filled with despair. What on earth was happening? This was not merely a crackdown on a usury operation. It was a concerted effort to obliterate him. At that moment, a thunderous bang resounded. The heavy steel door of the underground casino, along with the surrounding walls, was suddenly blown apart by a directed explosion. As dust and smoke enveloped the area, a battalion of fully armed, automatic rifle-wielding soldiers clad in black combat gear surged in like divine warriors. Do not move. They may be armed. Maintain vigilance. Before Brother Tiger and his subordinates could react, several canisters of tear gas were hurled into the crowd. The acrid smoke spread rapidly, causing everyone to tear up and cough violently, rendering them unable to open their eyes. Cough, cough. Don't shoot. We surrender. Brother Tiger coughed while raising his hands, attempting to signal his lack of intent to resist. However, the soldiers offered him no chance for dialogue. With tactical precision, they swiftly subdued Brother Tiger, pinning him to the ground with the cold muzzle of a gun pressed firmly against the back of his head. Be still. Do not move. With a sharp snap, the cold plastic cuffs tightened painfully around his wrists, binding his hands behind his back. Simultaneously, the other subordinates in the casino were rapidly restrained, each one pinned to the ground like a lifeless dog. Only then did Brother Tiger manage to pry open his smoke-stung eyes, struggling to comprehend the scene before him. Was this a special forces raid? Was such a level of force really necessary to apprehend a lone shark? Amidst his confusion and terror, he overheard an officer reporting loudly into a radio. Report to command. The target area has been cleared. All terrorists have been apprehended. No explosives or weapons of mass destruction found. The scene is secure. Terrorists. Upon hearing this term, Brother Tiger's eyes widened in shock as he lay pinned to the ground, utterly dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it. He raised his head to look at the reporting officer, his lips quivering as he struggled to articulate a defense, but the sheer shock and fear left him voiceless. I'm just a loan shark. At most. I'm the leader of a gang. How did I suddenly become a terrorist? This script was all wrong. Not long after the turmoil at the auto repair factory had settled, the ground suddenly trembled ominously. Then, the roar of engines grew louder, like rolling thunder rapidly approaching. Boom. A convoy of camouflaged military trucks and armored personnel carriers, resembling a steel dragon, thundered into the street where the auto repair factory was located. The screech of brakes echoed as countless fully armed soldiers poured from the vehicles, swiftly occupying the surrounding high ground and critical intersections, completely surrounding the factory. A command vehicle came to a halt at the factory entrance. The door swung open, and a tall figure clad in military attire, adorned with the insignia of a major general, leaped out. Yi Bai? Long Hantian, with a keen eye, spotted Yi Bai standing in the courtyard. His usually stern face broke into a rare smile of excitement. He strode forward, disregarding any military formalities, and enveloped Yi Bai in a hearty embrace. Hey, buddy. It's been months since we last saw each other. General Long, take it easy. This little frame of mine can't withstand such enthusiasm, Yi Bai chuckled. Patting Long Hantian's back, Long Hantian released his grip and surveyed Yi Bai from head to toe, exclaiming, Well done, my lad. It's been a few months since we last met, and you've certainly built up quite a physique. Your spirit is markedly different as well. Indeed. Yi Bai adjusted his attire, for he had become a person of considerable experience. Humph, now you truly are a figure of significance. Long Hantian remarked with a hint of envy in his tone. In the past, I could think of ways to bring some of your fine assets to our southern war zone. Now, however, the commotion you've stirred is growing larger and more prominent. Even I can barely keep up. Even this security task doesn't involve our southern war zone. It's only when something goes awry that I'm called in to assist. You've truly become a national treasure. Oh, come now, Major Long. You flatter me too much. Yi Bai humbly waved his hand. Regardless, our southern war zone will always be my home. That will never change. Enough of that. Long Hantian shot him a glare, half jokingly and half seriously. Home indeed? Reflect on your conscience. How long has it been since you last visited our southern war zone? Have you forgotten about me and Commander Peng? Is this what you call loyalty? Yi Bai awkwardly scratched his nose. I've just been busy. And I'm still in school. Education comes first. Education comes first. School? Long Hantian scoffed at this remark. Oh, please. Who doesn't know about your trivial matters? Count for yourself. How long has it been since you last showed your face at school? The two exchanged knowing glances, bursting into hearty laughter. Once the laughter subsided, Long Hantian's expression turned serious. On a serious note, what is going on? How could anyone be foolish enough to provoke you? Moreover, how did it come to this? Although he had received orders, he was unclear about the specific details, only aware that Yi Bai had been attacked in Huadu. Yi Bai's eyes turned cold, and he refrained from elaborating on the specifics, merely stating, It's nothing, just some issues with the family business. We were targeted by a group of reckless international investors seeking to take advantage. However, all is well now. Those clowns have been dealt with. I must thank you, Major Long, for bringing your troops to assist. No need for such pleasantries. Long Hantian waved his hand. Between us, do we need to say such things? Anyone who dares to touch you is stirring trouble with our southern war zone. I didn't bring heavy artillery to obliterate them. That's already showing restraint. While the two reminisced, a commotion erupted outside the auto repair shop's perimeter. Several black sedans bearing the City Committee and Public Security Bureau's insignia, escorted by a group of SWAT officers, hurriedly arrived at the scene. The car doors swung open, and Li Jianguo, the secretary of the Huadu City Committee, along with Zhao Gang, the director of the Public Security Bureau, emerged, drenched in sweat. However, upon witnessing the scene before them, their legs trembled uncontrollably. The entire street had been completely taken over by the military, with guards every few steps and armored vehicles with heavy machine guns pointed coldly at the intersection. The atmosphere was so oppressive that even these two officials, accustomed to various situations, felt their scalps tingle and their breaths quicken. What in the world is happening? Li Jianguo wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, his voice trembling. Why are there even armored vehicles deployed? Are we preparing for war? Zhao Gang's face turned pale as he gazed at the fully armed soldiers emanating an aura of menace, swallowing hard as he said, Secretary, this doesn't seem to be standard security protocol. This level of readiness is reserved for national leaders, is it not? Who exactly is Yi Bai? How can he create such a stir in our territory? The two exchanged glances, each reflecting the profound fear within the other's eyes. Although they were aware that Yi Bai was a notable figure, They had assumed he was merely a young entrepreneur or a scientist of some repute. But now, this display clearly indicated he was a person of immense stature. It's over. It's really over, Li Jianguo muttered to himself. If anything goes awry with this esteemed individual on our turf, our positions will be in jeopardy. So what shall we do now? Should we go in? Zhao Gang cautiously inquired. Li Jianguo took a deep breath, forcibly steadying his nerves as he adjusted his somewhat disheveled collar. We must enter. We have to. Even if it's through fire and brimstone. If we don't show our faces now, we might as well wait for our dismissal. Let us go. We need to meet this true deity. With heavy hearts akin to those attending a funeral, Li Jianguo and Zhao Gang steeled themselves and approached the gates of the auto repair shop. However, before they could reach the security line, two stern-looking guards wielding Type 95 automatic rifles stood like iron towers before them. Halt. Military restricted area. Unauthorized personnel, keep out. The cold muzzles of the guns were raised slightly, and the unmasked aura of intimidation made their already weak legs quiver uncontrollably. Comrades, please don't misunderstand. Li Jianguo forced a stiff smile, quickly retrieving his work ID from his pocket and presenting it with both hands. I am Li Jianguo, Secretary of the Huadu City Committee. And this is Zhao Gang, Director of the Public Security Bureau. We have been ordered by our superiors to come and handle this incident. The guard, expressionless, accepted the credentials and scrutinized them closely, yet the wariness in his eyes did not diminish. Please wait, we need to consult our superiors. After a moment, one of the guards pressed his earpiece and whispered a report. Moments later, the guard lowered his hand and addressed the two men. The commander has approved your entry, but you must undergo a security check. Of course, Li Jianguo nodded vigorously, not daring to voice any complaint. What followed was an exceedingly rigorous search procedure. The two guards were adept and professional, scrutinizing every inch of their bodies, leaving no stone unturned, not even their belt buckles or shoe soles. Being searched like criminals while under the threatening gaze of real firearms was an unprecedented experience for these two officials, who usually stood high above, leaving them feeling both humiliated and deeply shaken. Chapter 4:24. Outrageous. This security level is 10 times more stringent than any meeting I've attended. Zhao Gang internally lamented, cold sweat trickling down his cheeks. Just who was Yi Bai, this extraordinary figure? Once the search was complete, and it was confirmed that the two carried no dangerous items, the guards stepped aside to allow them through. Yet even so, the guards maintained a close watch behind them, their weapons always in a state of readiness. The sensation of being under such scrutiny made every step feel like walking on a tightrope for Li Jianguo and Zhao Gang. They were utterly resigned to despair. Such terrifying security standards and such stringent vigilance could only mean one thing. Yi Bai's significance far exceeded their imagination. And under the watchful eyes of such high-ranking individuals, an armed attack had occurred. This was not merely a public safety issue. It was a severe security incident. It's over. It's truly over, Li Jianguo lamented internally. Even if Yi Bai emerged unscathed and the situation was resolved satisfactorily, the implications of this incident alone would suffice to obliterate the futures of both himself and Zhao Gang. Perhaps even the entire hierarchy of Huadu. This cap of authority may well be the end of the line. With such mournful thoughts, the two finally entered the courtyard of the auto repair shop. At a glance, they spotted the young man standing in the center of the courtyard, accompanied by a towering figure clad in military attire, bearing the rank of a major general. A major general? Zhao Gang's pupils dilated in shock, nearly causing him to kneel on the spot. How could a dignified major general personally provide protection? This was utterly absurd. The two approached with trepidation. But before they could offer their apologies to Yi Bai, Long Hantian's piercing gaze swept over them like a blade. Are you the ones in charge of Huadu? Long Hantian's voice, though not loud, exuded an authoritative pressure that was impossible to ignore. Explain the situation. In broad daylight, 30 or so individuals wielding weapons stormed the residence, even attempting murder. Is this how you maintain order in Huadu? Faced with the Major General's inquiry, Li Jianguo felt a chill rush to his head, hastily lowering his gaze as he stammered a report. Sir, we have already investigated. That group is a criminal gang from the southern part of the city, led by someone known as Black Tiger. Their audacity stems from having certain corrupt individuals within, acting as their shield. At this point, Li Jianguo hesitated, but gritted his teeth and continued. Moreover, based on our preliminary findings, the financial backing of this Black Tiger is exceedingly complex, seemingly entangled with some foreign, unidentified funds in the shadow of international capital. International capital? Long Hantian's brow furrowed, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. How could a loan-sharking gang be connected to international capital? The unfolding of this situation appeared to exceed his expectations. If it were merely a public security issue, it would be manageable. However, once foreign forces and international capital were involved, the nature of the matter transformed entirely. At that moment, Yi Bai, who had remained silent, suddenly spoke. Major General Long, I am aware of this situation. His tone was calm, as if discussing a matter unrelated to himself. These individuals are merely pawns used by others. The true intent behind wanting to undermine our Yi family and swallow the Yi group lies with the vampires of Huai Street. Huai Street. Long Hantian was taken aback, his expression darkening further. Yi Bai nodded, succinctly explaining to Long Hantian the circumstances of his family being targeted by international capital, leading to a severed financial chain and coerced high-interest loans. What they desired was not merely the interest or the money. They aimed to force the Yi family into a corner through these means, ultimately seeking to acquire the entire Yi group at a fraction of its value or even at no cost, thereby controlling our industrial layout in Huadu. Upon hearing Yi Bai's account, Long Hantian could no longer suppress the fury in his eyes. With a resounding crash, he slammed his fist onto the stone table beside him. Despicable scoundrels. This is utterly intolerable. These foreign devils may wreak havoc abroad, but now they dare to extend their reach into our dragon country. And those traitorous vermin, for a paltry gain, they willingly act as dogs for the foreigners, helping them bully their fellow countrymen. They deserve to perish. Long Hantian, consumed by rage, radiated a chilling murderous intent that left Li Jianguo and Zhao Gang trembling in fear, scarcely daring to breathe. Yi Bai, rest assured, whether they are domestic traitors or foreign capital sharks, anyone who dares to stir trouble on our land will have their claws severed. Just as the atmosphere grew tense, with everyone quaking at Long Hantian's wrath, Yi Bai's encrypted black phone suddenly vibrated. He retrieved the device, glanced at the caller ID, and raised an eyebrow in surprise. It was a number forwarded from the red landline. Without hesitation, he pressed the answer button, instinctively straightening his posture. Hello, Elder Long. The mere utterance of Elder Long, though spoken softly, struck the surrounding individuals like a thunderclap. Long Hantian's fury froze instantly, his expression morphing into one of disbelief. Li Jianguo and Zhao Gang felt their legs weaken, nearly collapsing to the ground. Elder Long, in Dragon Country, who could be addressed in such a manner? Commanding the respect of someone like Yi Bai? Comrade Yi Bai, I heard you encountered an attack in Huadu. What is the situation? Are you injured? On the other end, Elder Long's voice, though steady, betrayed a hint of urgent concern. Clearly, news of the incident had swiftly reached him through military channels. Reporting to Elder Long, I am unscathed, completely unharmed. Yi Bai's tone was relaxed, thanks to the swift response of the Snow Wolf team and Major General Long's timely arrival. The situation has been fully brought under control. It was merely a minor inconvenience, and I appreciate your concern, but you need not trouble yourself. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Upon learning of Yi Bai's safety, Elder Long visibly exhaled in relief. You are now a precious asset to our nation. Nothing must go awry. I have issued strict orders to the Southern Theater Command to ensure your safety. As for those who dare to lay hands on you, no matter who they are, they will be thoroughly investigated without mercy. Understood, Elder Long, rest assured, we are already addressing the situation. After briefly reporting the circumstances, Yi Bai ended the call. As he stowed his phone and raised his head, he found everyone around him staring at him in astonishment, their expressions akin to that of witnessing an extraterrestrial being. Especially his father, Yi Nantian, whose jaw dropped in disbelief, eyes wide with confusion, as if questioning, is this really my son? Ahem. Yi Bai regarded the awestruck expressions of those around him and shrugged nonchalantly, feigning innocence. Why is everyone looking at me like that? It's rather embarrassing. It's nothing major. Just a call from a high-ranking leader expressing concern over a minor incident I had. Our nation's leaders are quite approachable. It's touching that they care about such trivial matters. The crowd, listen. Is this even a human conversation? That's Elder Long, a figure so esteemed that even regional commanders find it nearly impossible to meet him. He personally called to express concern, and you call this a trivial matter? In that moment, a profound sense of helplessness surged within both Major General Long Hantian and local officials like Li Jianguo. Is this what the world of the elite looks like? We do not understand. We truly do not understand. All right, since this issue has been resolved, I must take my leave. Yi Bai glanced at the time, turning to his still-dazed father, Yi Nantian. Dad, I need to head back to the capital. I have an exclusive interview awaiting me regarding that, that national treasure, which is of utmost confidentiality and cannot be delayed. Though unspoken, Yi Nantian instantly grasped the implication. That was a matter concerning national strategy. All right. Duty comes first. Hurry and attend to your affairs. Yi Nantian nodded vigorously. You need not worry about matters at home. With 100 billion in funding and the assistance of Major General Long and Secretary Li, I will swiftly clean up the mess. That's good. Yi Bai nodded. Once you've wrapped up here, bring Mom and Linger to the capital to meet me. We still need to settle accounts with those international capitalists. Hearing her son was leaving, Lin Shushue, standing nearby, felt a pang of reluctance, her eyes reddening once more. Upon returning, Xiaobai, are you already leaving? Mother hasn't even had the chance to prepare a delicious meal for you. Mom, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Yi Bai stepped forward to embrace his mother, gently offering comfort. Once we arrive in the capital, our family will be together every day. Yes, but you must take good care of yourself while you're out there. Don't overexert yourself. Lin Shushue wiped away her tears. Feeling reluctant, yet understanding that her son was engaged in significant matters and could not lag behind. By the way, Linger, Lin Shushue suddenly grasped Sun Ling's hand. Xiaobai, you should head back first. Let Linger stay with me for a while, as I have some words to share with her to make up for past regrets. Upon hearing this, Yi Bai glanced at Sun Ling. She obediently nodded and smiled sweetly at him. You go ahead and get busy. I'll stay here with Annie for a few days. I also want to spend more time with Uncle and Auntie. All right then, take good care of Mom and Dad. We'll meet in the capital. After making the necessary arrangements, Yi Bai turned to Long Hantian. Major Long, I would appreciate it if you could escort me to the airport. Of course. Long Hantian waved his hand, immediately seizing the walkie-talkie to issue commands. All units, target Huadu International Airport. Level 1 alert. Escort the chief to the boarding. Additionally, he instructed, notify the Air Force. The special aircraft has been coordinated, and 2 J-20 fighter jets are on standby for full escort. Boom. The mention of a special aircraft and J-20 escort sent a shiver down the spine of everyone present. While it was one thing to have a special aircraft, deploying 2 of the most advanced stealth fighters for escort was simply outrageous. Li Jiangguo and Zhao Gang exchanged glances, both recognizing the profound relief in each other's eyes. Thankfully, this esteemed individual was unharmed. Otherwise, not only would they lose their official titles, but their very lives might also not suffice as compensation. The special aircraft carrying Yi Bai landed smoothly at a military airport in the capital, escorted by 2 J-20s. As soon as he disembarked, his encrypted phone began to ring. Yi Bai, have you arrived? On the other end, Commander Nie's voice sounded somewhat urgent. The production crew from the central media is all set, equipment calibrated. Just waiting for you, the main character, to make your entrance. I've dispatched a helicopter to pick you up directly to the secret number 3 airport of the Central Theater. The Kunpeng is ready there. Understood, Commander Nie. Yi Bai nodded, watching the military helicopter slowly descending nearby, stirring up gusts of wind. A smile forming at the corners of his mouth. I'm on my way. After hanging up, Yi Bai did not rush to board, but instead took out his phone and skillfully opened the Douyin app. Although this was a live interview for the central media, as a top influencer with tens of millions of followers, how could he forget to treat his fans? His fingers flew across the screen, sending out a brief yet suspenseful live announcement. Yi Bai, brothers, something big is coming. In 1 hour, I'll show you a true giant. Live broadcast by the central media. Let's make it a grand occasion. Don't miss it. Within mere minutes, likes surged past 1 million, and the comments section erupted. Wow, Yi God has risen again. What major news is he stirring up this time? A true giant? Is it even bigger than the Longyuan passenger plane? Could it be the legendary aerospace mothership? Live broadcast by the central media? This is outrageous. What level is Yi God at now? It feels beyond my comprehension. Front row selling sunflower seeds, peanuts, and mineral water. Ready to watch Yi God show off. I have a premonition that this will be a nuclear-level revelation. A giant? It can't be that rumored thing. An hour later, at the Central Theater's secret number 3 airport, security was tight, with soldiers armed to the teeth stationed every few steps. At the end of the runway, a colossal object concealed beneath a massive camouflage net stood silently. Chapter 426. Just a rather ordinary plane. A military helicopter roared in, landing steadily on the helipad. Yi Bai jumped out, smoothing his wind-tousled hair, and immediately pulled out his phone to start the live stream. Hey, brothers, I'm here. Yi Bai waved at the camera, wearing his signature smile. Thank you for your patience. Today, we have arrived at an extraordinary location. I won't say much. Just take a look around at this environment. Those who understand will understand. Wow, this background, this runway, it looks like a military airport. Yi God is incredible. He is really taking us live from a military base. Isn't that illegal? Don't worry, he is now a national figure. It must be approved. Look, what is that huge thing covered in nets behind us? So big, so thick. While Yi Bai was enthusiastically interacting with the comments, not far away, Commander Nya, clad in military attire and bearing a major general's insignia, strode over with several advisors. Yi Bai, you finally arrived. Commander Nya wore a smile, ready to greet Yi Bai and discuss the upcoming live broadcast details. However, to his surprise, Yi Bai seemed oblivious, continuing to speak animatedly into his phone. Brothers, don't rush. I'll show you that giant shortly. For now, let us enjoy the scenery here. Commander Nya's outstretched hand froze midair, and his smile became rigid. He stood awkwardly behind Yi Bai, like a forgotten passerby, completely sidelined. This scene was vividly captured by Yi Bai's phone, broadcasting to millions of viewers in the live stream. Wow, am I seeing things? Is that Commander Nya behind Yi God? Oh my goodness. It really is Commander Nya, the head of the Central Theater, a prominent figure frequently seen on the news. I'm dying of laughter. A commanding general being ignored by Yi God. This is unprecedented. Commander Nya, who am I? Where am I? Do I have no dignity? Yi God, quiet. I'm chatting with my family. Commander, please step back a bit. Only then did Yi Bai seem to sense the growing resentment behind him, instinctively turning around. Oh, Commander Nya, when did you arrive? Yi Bai looked genuinely surprised, as if just noticing him, hastily putting away his phone and scratching his head in embarrassment. My apologies. I was too engrossed in chatting with my fans and didn't see you there. Please don't take offense. Commander Nya looked at Yi Bai's carefree demeanor, his mouth twitching slightly. When had he, a major general, ever been treated this way? Had it been anyone else, he would have kicked them away. Yet, facing Yi Bai, a national treasure, what could he do but resign himself to the situation? All right, enough joking. Commander Nya glared at him playfully and waved his hand. Come with me. The Central Media reporters and crew have been waiting for a long time. The live broadcast is about to start, and we can't keep them waiting. Sure thing. I'm on my way, Yi Bai replied, turning back to the live stream. Brothers, the main event is about to begin. Let us go unveil the mystery of that giant. Following Commander Nya, Yi Bai jogged to the opposite side of the airport runway. There, several professional cameras emblazoned with the Central Media logo were already set up, with lighting and audio equipment in place. A young female reporter, dressed in a professional suit and exuding elegance, held a microphone, making final preparations for the camera. Upon seeing Yi Bai and Commander Nya approaching, her eyes lit up, and she quickly came forward. Hello, Mr. Yi. I am Xiao Bing, a journalist from a Central Media outlet, and I am delighted to have the opportunity to interview you. Xiao Bing gracefully extended her hand, adorned with a professional yet warm smile. Hello. Yi Bai shook her hand, his gaze sweeping over the ominous black cameras surrounding them. And he couldn't help but marvel at the formidable presence of the Central Media. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, the director signaled the commencement of the live broadcast. Xiao Bing immediately assumed her role, addressing the camera in her signature broadcasting tone. Good day to all our viewers. Welcome to this special live broadcast from Central Media. Today, we are immensely honored to have a distinguished guest with us. She gestured towards Yi Bai by her side. Standing next to me is Mr. Yi Bai, a young prodigy who has recently garnered significant attention online and is hailed as a national treasure-level genius scientist. Although he is merely 19 years old, he has already led and participated in numerous national strategic weapon development projects. From the globally renowned Longyuan passenger aircraft to groundbreaking military technologies that could redefine warfare, his contributions are truly remarkable. Today, Mr. Yi Bai will once again unveil a groundbreaking national asset that is bound to astonish the world. Simultaneously, Yi Bai raised his smartphone and winked at the fans in the live stream, jokingly stating, Brothers, did you see that? I'm now officially featured on Central Media. This is the first-person perspective of a Central Media interview. Doesn't it feel like my looks have ascended to a higher level? The barrage of comments erupted with enthusiasm. Yi Shun has completely outdone himself. Central Media reporters introducing him. What a treatment. Although I've known about the 19-year-old national treasure-level scientist for a while, it still feels surreal to hear it. Stop joking around. Hurry up and reveal that big thing for us to see. Returning to the interview scene, Xiao Bing continued, Mr. Yi, it has come to our attention that the confidentiality level of this new equipment is extraordinarily high, and until today, the outside world knew almost nothing about it. Could you please provide us with a brief introduction about this aircraft? What unique advantages does it possess compared to existing similar equipment? This question evidently piqued everyone's curiosity. Yi Bai smiled but did not respond directly. Instead, he created suspense. He turned around, pointing at the enormous object still shrouded in camouflage netting behind him, with a tone of utmost nonchalance. Actually, it's nothing extraordinary. Just a very ordinary transport aircraft. Ordinary? Xiao Bing was momentarily taken aback. Indeed, Yi Bai shrugged, his demeanor utterly relaxed. It just flies a little faster. Perhaps slightly quicker than some countries' fighter jets. It flies a bit higher, maybe just above the range of typical anti-air missiles. As for the payload, it can carry just a tad more than our largest active transport aircraft, around 10 to 20 tons more. Oh, and it has a little feature. It's invisible to others. Neither radar nor the naked eye can see it. That's pretty much the situation. Quite ordinary, really. Chapter 427. The aircraft of the Dragon Country must be a hoax. Following Yi Bai's exceedingly nonchalant introduction, everyone present, including Xiao Bing and the crew, as well as millions of viewers in the live stream, were rendered speechless. Faster than fighter jets? Higher than anti-air missiles? A payload multiplied several times? And it can evade detection by both radar and the naked eye? This is merely ordinary? This is clearly extraterrestrial technology. What did I just hear? A transport aircraft faster than a fighter jet? Are you joking, Yixin? Invisible to the naked eye. Optical invisibility. This is the stuff of science fiction. Nonchalance. Utterly blatant nonchalance. I knew that what Yixin referred to as ordinary is anything but. I'm in awe. If these specifications are true, all global transport aircraft could be tossed into the trash. Of course, amidst the astonishment and admiration flooding the comments, there were also some harsh voices. Haha, anyone can boast. Faster than a fighter jet? Why not claim it can fly out of the earth? Optical invisibility? You're making me laugh. Current physics simply cannot achieve that. This must be a special effect or magic. People from the Dragon Country just love to hype themselves, creating a model to deceive funds, just to fool you ignorant little fans. Waiting for the fallout. If such an aircraft truly exists, I'll live stream myself eating excrement. Mr. Yi, may we now proceed to unveil this magnificent creation behind you? Xiao Bing inquired, her eyes brimming with anticipation. Yi Bai glanced at the barrage of comments urging him to hurry, and nodded with a smile. Of course, I believe everyone is eager for this. All right, let us witness this thrilling moment together. Xiao Bing exclaimed excitedly at the camera. The atmosphere in the live stream surged to a crescendo, with countless comments flooding the screen. It's coming. Finally about to reveal its true form. Front row selling knee pads. I'm ready to kneel and watch. Yixin's creation is bound to be exquisite. This will definitely be explosive. Just as Yi Bai was preparing to turn and pull back the curtain, the ever-patient Commander Nya, who had been standing silently in the background, could no longer contain himself. He cleared his throat discreetly, moving closer to the camera while adjusting his military insignia, making his intentions unmistakably clear. I'm here too. How about introducing me? As a top reporter from CCTV, Xiao Bing possessed a high emotional intelligence. She caught Commander Nya's subtle movements from the corner of her eye and quickly responded with a smile. Of course. In addition to Mr. Yi, we are also privileged to have Commander Nya from the Central Theater Command with us today. It is thanks to Commander Nya and the strong support from the Central Theater that we have the opportunity to present this national asset to everyone today. Only then did Commander Nya nod in satisfaction, offering the camera a dignified yet approachable smile while waving his hand. This moment certainly did not escape the sharp eyes of the viewers in the live stream. Haha, I'm dying. Commander Nya is hinting like crazy. Commander Nya, as a distinguished Major General, do I not deserve some screen time? Can I please get a mention? Yixin is so nonchalant, focused on showing off while completely forgetting about the commander. Commander Nya, these young people are so hard to guide. I have to find my own sense of presence. Yi Bai, unable to suppress a chuckle, glanced at the system panel. Goodness. In such a short span, the shock value surged once more. Clearly, everyone was not only intrigued by the aircraft he was about to reveal, but also astonished by his audacity to treat a theater commander as mere background. All right, let us not keep everyone waiting any longer. Commander Nya waved his hand, issuing commands to several soldiers who had been standing by. Unveil. Yes. Several strong soldiers immediately stepped forward, each grasping a corner of the enormous camouflage net covering the aircraft. 3, 2, 1, lift. With a synchronized command, the massive camouflage net was swiftly lifted. In the next moment, a sleek, black, and futuristic behemoth was fully revealed before everyone's eyes. Under the sunlight, its streamlined fuselage emitted a faint cold glimmer, resembling a colossal beast from the abyss, quietly lying in wait for the opportune moment to strike. Particularly striking was its flying wing configuration, which seamlessly fused the fuselage and wings, along with its unique design devoid of any vertical stabilizers, making it look remarkably like an alien warship from a science fiction film. A collective gasp echoed through the venue. Even Xiao Bing, well-versed in such matters, could not help but cover her mouth in astonishment. The chat in the live stream erupted into chaos. Holy cow! Holy cow. Holy cow. Is this a transport aircraft? This is unbelievably stunning. This design, this paint job, it's simply a Black Knight. I'm in love. Is this truly a product of Earth? It feels as though it has been seized from extraterrestrial hands. Our mother must have been burning alien rear ends with a cigarette on the far side of the moon. How fantastical. Compared to this aircraft, our previous clunky transport planes appear as mere antiques. Mr. Yi is remarkable. Just the aesthetic alone has already secured half the victory. However, amidst the chorus of admiration, a wave of snarky comments flooded in. Just a pretty face. What good is looks if it can't fight? Indeed, with all those flashy designs, it's evident that it lacks practicality. It's probably just a large model. The people of the Dragon Kingdom are fond of such superficial projects. The core engine technology is still lacking. I'm waiting for a failure to take off. With such an aerodynamic layout, it simply cannot fly. Observing these remarks, Yi Bai's smile only deepened. Good looking? That is merely its most trivial advantage. The true terror is just beginning. Mr. Yi, since everyone is so astonished by the aircraft's exterior, shall we commence with the actual flight tests to showcase its true capabilities? Xiao Bing looked at Yi Bai, her eyes brimming with anticipation. Yi Bai nodded and turned to Commander Nye. Commander Nye, is everything ready? All preparations are complete. Commander Nye replied solemnly, then picked up the intercom and issued the command. Tower, this is Kunpeng 1, preparing for takeoff. Pilots, take your positions. As the command was given, the ace test pilot, who had been waiting in the cockpit, rapidly started the engines. A deep and powerful roar echoed across the airport as the rear nozzle of the Kunpeng transport aircraft expelled a ghostly blue flame, and the massive fuselage began to glide towards the runway. Chapter 428. Is this plane a fake? The live chat erupted once more. It's moving. The giant is on the move. Listen to that sound. The power is substantial. It feels far more potent than typical transport aircraft. Take off. Take off. Let us see just how formidable this Black Knight truly is. Just a taxiing maneuver. What is there to be excited about? Any aircraft can move. Look at its cumbersome appearance. Takeoff will surely be a struggle, and supersonic? Dream on. I'll wait to see it grounded. If this thing can actually fly, I'll eat my keyboard. Amidst the cacophony of commentary, the Kunpeng transport aircraft began to accelerate down the runway. Without a lengthy taxi, it glided for barely a few hundred meters before the nose sharply lifted, and the entire aircraft soared into the sky like an arrow shot from a bow. Successful takeoff. The tower announced. The live chat instantly flooded with accolades. Goodness, that takeoff distance was incredibly short. Short takeoff. Look at that climb angle. That thrust-to-weight ratio. It rivals that of a fighter jet. What about the one who said they'd eat their keyboard? Come out and take a bow. Yet, this was merely the beginning. The critics remained obstinate. So what if it took off? Any plane can lift off. What is so impressive about that? It hasn't flown higher than the sparrows outside my door. Yi Bai gazed at the comments, a cold smile gracing his lips. He picked up the communicator and directly commanded the airborne pilot. Kunpeng 1, accelerate as per tower instructions. Objective, break the sound barrier. Kunpeng 1 acknowledged. Commencing acceleration. In the sky, the Kunpeng transport aircraft, which had been steadily climbing, suddenly erupted with a more dazzling blue light from its rear nozzle. The speed visibly surged. The live feed captured this moment through high-definition cameras on the ground. The massive black warplane streaked through the air, gaining speed rapidly. At the moment the speedometer crossed the critical threshold, a thunderous roar erupted, reverberating even through the screen, causing viewers to feel their eardrums thrum. Then, a breathtaking scene unfolded. A visible ring of white clouds suddenly enveloped the Kunpeng transport aircraft, resembling a gigantic conical hood, instantly shrouding its entire body. This was the vapor cone. Such a magnificent phenomenon occurs only when an aircraft breaks the sound barrier, compressing water vapor in the air. The colossal sonic boom reverberated through the air, sending shockwaves that made the once stable live feed tremble, creating an extraordinary spectacle. It broke through. It truly broke the sound barrier. Xiao Bing exclaimed, her voice trembling with excitement. The viewers in the live chat went utterly wild. Goodness. Sonic boom clouds. This is genuinely a sonic boom cloud. This is a transport aircraft. Yet it has actually achieved supersonic flight. Incredible. The sonic boom cloud adds a spectacular effect to the aircraft. Mom asked why I was kneeling to watch the live stream. This is so direct. Yet, even with the truth laid bare, the naysayers continued to stubbornly resist, seeking every angle to discredit it. It seemed as though their nation's strength was more painful for them than the death of their mothers. Well, that is not quite right. They have no mothers. What is the big deal about breaking the sound barrier? Which modern fighter jet can't do that? This thing looks large, but it's essentially an empty shell. They must have stripped it of its payload. It's merely a small-capacity fighter jet disguised as a transport aircraft. Right. They must have cheated. No real transport aircraft can fly like this. Breaking the sound barrier is just barely manageable. It's likely to fall apart after a short flight. Upon seeing these remarks, other netizens were utterly incensed, launching fierce counterattacks in the comments. Are you blind? You say this massive size is just a fighter jet in disguise. Does your fighter jet even look like this? Is it so difficult to acknowledge others' excellence? This is a bona fide sonic boom cloud. Can your masters create something like this? Exactly. If you have the ability. Let Boeing create a supersonic transport aircraft and show us. Ignore these people who have knelt for so long that they can't stand up. Mr. Yi is remarkable. The Kunpeng is exceptional. The comments section was ablaze with conflict, but it did nothing to dampen Yi Bai's spirits. The forthcoming demonstration would utterly shatter their fantasies and leave them reeling. Dear viewers, what you just witnessed was merely a small demonstration of the Kunpeng transport aircraft's speed. Yi Bai addressed the camera, his confident smile unwavering. Next, we will reveal its other core capabilities, allowing you to witness what true versatility looks like. Commander Nya also stepped forward at the opportune moment, picking up the conversation. Indeed, as a strategic transport aircraft, mere speed is insufficient. Capacity, flight performance, and resilience are the hard truths. During the following moments, millions of viewers in the live chat, akin to witnessing a science fiction blockbuster, were left spellbound as they bore witness to the emergence of one miracle after another. First came the endurance capability test. Although a continuous flight lasting several hours could not be conducted during the live stream, the real-time transmission of fuel consumption data and remaining range predictions through the onboard data link left everyone stunned by the terrifying figures. With a full tank, the maximum range is 18,000 kilometers. Xiao Bing's voice trembled as she gazed at the data on the large screen. Does this not mean it can fly directly from our country to any corner of the Earth without refueling in midair? Not only that, Yi Bai added, with a single aerial refueling, its range could even cover a round trip across the globe. Next came the maximum payload test. Several heavy main battle tanks appeared as mere toys in front of the vast cargo hold, easily swallowed whole. As the data revealed an astonishing weight capacity of 200 tons, an eerie silence enveloped the live broadcast room. 200 tons. What an immense concept. This is merely a hair's breadth shy of the largest transport aircraft in the world. Finally, the maneuverability test commenced. This colossal machine executed a series of high-difficulty maneuvers typically reserved for fighter jets, tight turns, rapid ascents, and descents. As these hardcore, explosive data and visuals unfolded before their eyes, the once boisterous 1450 viewers fell utterly silent. Their proud assertions regarding the fighter jet disguise theory and hollow shell theory became pathetically feeble, even somewhat ludicrous, in the face of ironclad facts. Meanwhile, the domestic netizens, who had been holding their breath, finally seized the moment for a fervent counterattack. Chapter 429. Can your fighter jet fly 18,000 kilometers? Why the silence? Weren't you quite vocal just a moment ago? Keep spinning your tails. Fighter jet disguise? How many tanks can your fighter jet carry? Can your fighter jet fly 18,000 kilometers? Is this what you call barely passable? What does that make your Master S aircraft? A vintage mobility scooter? Does it hurt your pride? I ask you, does it hurt your pride? Lord Yi specializes in addressing various grievances. This live broadcast, akin to a tempest, swiftly swept across the internet and rapidly spread overseas with astonishing velocity. Not only did domestic trending lists get dominated by terms such as Kunpeng transport aircraft, Yi Bai, and supersonic transport aircraft, but social media platforms on the opposite island and in America also erupted. The viewership for the live clips regarding the Kunpeng transport aircraft soared past 10 million in an instant, while the comments section transformed into a battleground for netizens from various nations. American netizens, my God, what manner of monster is this? A supersonic transport aircraft? How is this even possible? Our C-5 and C-17 seem like relics of the last century beside it. This must be special effects. I refuse to believe that the Dragon Kingdom could produce such a thing, unless they VE stolen technology from Area 51. What the hell? Where has our military funding gone? Why are we still using those outdated planes while the Dragon Kingdom has unveiled such future weaponry? You must provide an explanation. Are we already lagging behind? Island netizens, Baka, this has to be fake. How could the Chinese possibly create such an impressive aircraft? It's definitely a model. If it's real, aren't we in danger? If this aircraft is used for troop transport, oh my, I shudder to think. This must be CGI. A promotional clip for a movie. I don't believe it, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. It's over, it's completely over. Daddy, save me. Even numerous rational foreign military bloggers expressed their astonishment. I must admit, the speed of progress in the aerospace sector of the Dragon Kingdom is genuinely terrifying. This Kunpeng transport aircraft, in terms of aerodynamic layout and performance parameters, represents the pinnacle of contemporary global standards, even surpassing our own. If this aircraft enters mass production, the global strategic delivery landscape will be irrevocably altered. The Dragon Kingdom will possess the capability to deploy heavy armored forces to any location in the world within 24 hours. This is truly frightening. Observing the shock and panic emanating from around the globe, Yi Bai stood before the Kunpeng transport aircraft, his smile radiant as ever. This was precisely the effect he desired. Let the world tremble before the Dragon Kingdom. In the Black House, within the confines of a golden-draped office, the sunlight was completely barred from entering. A faint scent of cologne lingered in the air, the preferred fragrance of the current occupant. A staff member, clad in a dark suit and glistening with sweat, rushed into the office, clutching an urgent report and a tablet. Mr. President, the staff member's voice, strained by hurried breaths, carried a note of urgency as he nearly sprinted to the desk, presenting the tablet. We have a major situation. This is a top-level emergency intelligence report. Please review it immediately. Seated behind the grand desk, the president, engrossed in his phone, was momentarily disrupted and appeared rather displeased. He raised his head. His signature hair seemed somewhat disheveled due to his foul mood. He did not reach for the tablet, nor did he even glance at the staff member, instead responding in an exceedingly nonchalant tone, more pressing than this. I'm currently concerned about the construction of my banquet hall. That designer told me it wouldn't be completed until next month. Inform him that if I do not see a magnificent, resplendent banquet hall by next week, I shall have him dismissed. He will never work on any project in America again. The staff member nearly choked in disbelief upon hearing this. How could the president still be concerned about his party hall at such a critical time? Mr. President, we can discuss the banquet hall later, the staff member exclaimed, nearly stomping his feet as he forcefully thrust the tablet towards the president, his fingers trembling as he pointed at the live broadcast on the screen. The situation is extremely serious. Look at this. This is the Dragon Kingdom's newly unveiled strategic transport aircraft, Kunpeng. According to our intelligence analysis, this aircraft's performance has completely surpassed our C-5 and C-17. It even possesses supersonic cruising and stealth capabilities. The military technological strength of the Dragon Kingdom has reached a terrifying level. If we do not take action soon, our strategic advantage globally will vanish completely. The president, perturbed by the staff member's exaggerated tone, reluctantly cast a glance at the tablet. On the screen, the sleek, black, sci-fi design of the Kunpeng transport aircraft was tearing through the sound barrier, enveloped in a stunning halo of white shockwave clouds. Yet, after merely a glance, the president scoffed, his face displaying a characteristic expression of arrogance and disdain. Is that all? He extended a finger, casually swiping across the screen with a dismissive tone. Oh, come now? My old friend, you can't possibly believe this is real, can you? This is clearly AI-generated video. Are you not aware of how advanced AI technology is? If I wanted, I could have them produce 1,000 videos more outrageous than this. Supersonic? Stealth? Huh. The Chinese are masters of boastfulness. This is merely another trick they've devised to intimidate us. The staff member was momentarily rendered speechless by the president's remarks. He opened his mouth, ready to explain that this was a live broadcast from state media, verified by multiple intelligence sources as authentic footage. But before he could speak, the president eagerly retrieved his own phone. Come. Let me show you what true technology looks like. With practiced ease, the president opened his social media app and pulled up a recently uploaded video, a look of pride on his face as he presented it to the staff member. Look at this. This is what my team just created with AI. The staff member instinctively glanced over, only to be instantly petrified. The video depicted a cartoon version of the president, adorned with an oversized golden crown, piloting a whimsical aircraft as it soared above various American cities. Chapter 430. Does the tax lord dare to embezzle the garden funds? What do you think? Isn't it cool? Isn't it creative? The president chuckled heartily at the chaos depicted in the video, his jowls quivering with laughter. I find this video far more entertaining than that pathetic transport aircraft. This is art. This is humor. The staff member gazed at the self-indulgent leader before him, then back at the looping video of the Kunpeng transport aircraft, feeling as though his mind was spinning and his worldview crumbling. Is this truly the grand leader of America? Is this the man who wields the nuclear button and determines the fate of the world? Oh God, is there still hope for America? Just as the aides were caught in a whirlwind of confusion, President Trump suddenly ceased his laughter, his sharp little eyes fixated intensely on them, his tone shifting to an unprecedented seriousness. Enough with the jesting. Now, you must answer me immediately, without delay, regarding that most crucial question. He pointed at the office door and bellowed, "My banquet hall. How is the renovation progressing?" The aide took a deep breath, attempting to pull his sanity back from the brink of collapse, slowly raising his head to meet the gaze of the self-absorbed leader. He spoke in a tone bordering on numbness. "Mr. President, since you mentioned the banquet hall, regarding the budget audit for its construction," at this point, George hesitated, swallowing hard. "The senior accountant we dispatched to review the accounts was shot last night." "What?" The smile on Trump's face instantly froze, his squinting eyes widening as if he had heard an absurd tale. "Shot? You mean he was gunned down?" "Yes, Mr. President. A single bullet to the head. Executed with a professional touch," George added expressionlessly. Trump collapsed into his chair, his face a mask of shock. "How is this possible? How can this be?" He waved his hands, shouting like a wronged child. "I merely wanted to renovate a banquet hall. I didn't even look into the grotesque accounts of those vampires at the Pentagon. Nor did I touch the military-industrial complex's cake. I just wanted to draw a line, acquire some insider stock information for a little pocket money, then host a lavish banquet, and maybe establish a golf course. For such trivial matters, must they resort to violence? How could they do this? Is there no rule of law left? Is there no justice?" Observing the distraught and disillusioned leader before him, George sighed helplessly. In America, there are certain red lines that must not be crossed, even for a leader. Once one infringes upon the core interests of the deep state and the capital magnates, even a seemingly innocuous inquiry into a minor renovation budget could lead to dire consequences. This is the soft freedom of America, where gunfire echoes every day. Meanwhile, news of the Dragon Kingdom's Kunpeng transport aircraft emerged like a hurricane, sweeping through the central institutions of nations worldwide. In Japan, at the Prime Minister's residence, Prime Minister Mia, having just concluded a day of demanding duties and preparing to indulge in an exquisite kaiseki meal, was abruptly interrupted by the hurried entrance of the Minister of Defense. "Prime Minister, a grave situation has arisen." The Minister of Defense, pale-faced, held a pressing intelligence document. "The Dragon Kingdom has just unveiled a new model of strategic transport aircraft. Its capabilities are utterly despairing." Mia set down her chopsticks, frowning as she took the document and opened the accompanying video link. Upon witnessing the sleek black Kunpeng transport aircraft executing maneuvers beyond the bounds of physics, along with the terrifying footage of its supersonic cruising, her hands began to tremble uncontrollably. "Is this real?" Mia's voice was parched, beads of cold sweat forming on her forehead. "What does a supersonic transport aircraft imply?" "It means the Dragon Kingdom's heavy forces could be deployed above us within an hour, and our air defense systems would likely be as effective as paper against this behemoth." "Baka, Baka." Mia slammed the tablet onto the tatami mat. "What is the intelligence department doing? Why did we only just learn of such a significant development from the Dragon Kingdom? This is disastrous. If the Dragon Kingdom truly intends to take action against us, we won't even have time to respond." The imposing figure of Emperor Kyoji, sharp-eyed and robust, sat at his desk, reviewing a detailed analysis report on the Kunpeng transport aircraft. On the large screen before him, footage from Yi Bai's live broadcast was looping. Unlike Mia's panic, Kyoji's expression bore astonishment, interwoven with admiration and even a hint of envy. What a remarkable creation. Kyoji marveled at the soaring black giant in the sky. With a flying wing configuration, stealth design, and supersonic cruising, the Dragon Kingdom has truly advanced to the forefront of the world. It seems that the young Mr. Yi Bai is indeed a rare genius. Although this aircraft's emergence poses a certain strategic pressure on us in the current geopolitical landscape, the strength of the Dragon Kingdom is not necessarily detrimental to us. At the very least, in the face of the greedy wolves of the West, we now have a more formidable ally. Contemplating this, Kyoji's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Relay my orders. Send a congratulatory message to the Dragon Kingdom. Commend them on their significant breakthroughs in aerospace. Additionally, dispatch a delegation to the Dragon Kingdom to explore potential collaborations regarding this aircraft's technology. Even acquiring a few units would be beneficial." At the Central Theater Command, Secret Airport Number 3, as the Kunpeng transport aircraft landed smoothly, its massive frame appeared even more imposing against the backdrop of the setting sun. Yi Bai stood beside the aircraft, stealing a glance at the system panel. Current shock value, 852147360, 852 million. Yi Bai felt an exhilarating thrill. The global live debut was an astounding success. Not only domestic netizens, but even those abroad, enduring the time difference to watch the broadcast, contributed a vast amount of shock value. Mr. Yi, today's test was truly astonishing. I believe the entire world has been captivated by this Kunpeng transport aircraft. Central News reporter Xiao Bing held a microphone. Her eyes filled with admiration as she gazed at Yi Bai. So, the pressing question from our audience is this. As a national treasure-level scientist, what surprises can you bring us in the future? Are there any new research plans you can disclose? Chapter 431, Commencing Bomber Development. In response to this inquiry, Yi Bai wore a mysterious smile, feigning profundity. As for our subsequent plans, many things remain classified. Revealing them might startle everyone. However, Yi Bai shifted his tone. Our next project is already underway. While I cannot divulge specific details, I can offer a small prediction. At this juncture, he paused deliberately, turning to glance at Commander Nya beside him, silently seeking approval. Can I disclose this? Commander Nya, with a resigned eye roll, imperceptibly nodded. Witnessing this exchange, the live chat erupted in laughter. Haha, this is hilarious. Weren't you just so arrogant? What happened to you now? Ye God, though I am indeed impressive, I must yield before Commander Nya. Is this the legendary moment of bravado, now sobbing to redeem yourself? Commander Nya, little rascal, think you can escape my grasp? With approval granted, Yi Bai redirected his attention to the camera, his demeanor shifting to one of seriousness and gravity. Since Commander Nya has agreed, I shall speak plainly. Our next objective will focus on strategic bombers. Boom. This declaration was akin to dropping a depth charge into a tranquil lake. Strategic bombers. They are an integral component of a Trinity nuclear strike capability, the true sword of a great power. Although the existing H-6 bombers in the Dragon Country are commendable, they still fall short in terms of stealth penetration, supersonic cruising, and payload capacity when compared to the top-tier bombers like the B-2 from America. And now, Yi Bai has surprisingly announced plans to develop a strategic bomber. Given his past achievements, this yet-to-be-released bomber is undoubtedly poised to be a groundbreaking marvel. The comments section erupted with excitement, as countless netizens were stirred into a fervor. Of course, the skeptics remained undeterred, trying to sow discord amid the jubilant cheers. However, their voices were swiftly drowned out by an overwhelming tide of positive energy comments. Concurrently, comments from international netizens began to flood the live stream and overseas social media platforms. American netizens exclaimed in disbelief, "Oh my God, look at that damn aircraft." Though I hate to admit it, it certainly appears far cooler than our old relics. If we don't apply some pressure on our military-industrial complex, we are doomed. Others retorted, don't let their achievements diminish our pride. We possess the B-2 spirit. That's merely a PowerPoint presentation from Dragon Country. Even if they build it, it won't evade our radar. Japanese netizens chimed in with a mix of bravado and bravado. This is pure bluster. The Chinese cannot possess such advanced technology. They only know how to steal. Yet, the domestic netizens in Dragon Country responded with remarkable unity, rallying in support of their own. As the much-anticipated live broadcast concluded, Yi Bai, escorted by Commander Nya, returned to the high-tech factory located in the outskirts of the imperial capital. Upon entering his office, he slumped into his swivel chair, exhaling deeply. The pressure of addressing a global audience was indeed immense. Reflecting on his earlier composure and the ease with which he engaged with Commander Nya, he felt a sense of admiration for his own mental fortitude. Fortunately, everything had been executed flawlessly. Not only had he showcased his capabilities, but he also amassed a significant amount of shock value, an accomplishment to be celebrated. Observing the shock value nearing 900 million, a satisfied smile graced Yi Bai's lips. With such a sum, he could now proceed with his grand plans without hesitation. After a brief respite, Yi Bai revitalized himself and headed to the core underground modification workshop of the factory. There, a partially disassembled H-6 bomber lay quietly on a massive lift platform, revealing its intricate internal wiring. This was the target for his upcoming modifications. Though the H-6 had earned its stripes as a formidable bomber in the Dragon Country's Air Force, its considerable radar cross-section, subsonic speed, and limited penetration capabilities rendered it somewhat inadequate in an era dominated by stealth aircraft and advanced air defense systems. Old friend, fret not. You shall soon undergo a remarkable transformation. Yi Bai gently patted the bomber's somewhat rough exterior before summoning the system interface. System, initiate scan. Beep. Scanning target vehicle. Scan complete. Target, H-6 bomber. Classification, B-grade vehicle. Modification criteria met. Please confirm the direction of modification. Gazing at the system's prompt, Yi Bai stroked his chin, deep in thought. If he were to develop a strategic bomber, it must be nothing short of a game-changing weapon that instills despair in enemies. First and foremost, Endurance is paramount for a strategic bomber. It must possess exceptional range, capable of circling the globe multiple times or maintaining prolonged airborne readiness without frequent refueling. Secondly, stealth capability is vital for survival. It must not only evade radar detection but also possess optical stealth. Ideally, it should blend seamlessly with its surroundings like a chameleon, rendering enemy satellites and eyes blind. Thirdly, speed is essential. In the realm of combat, swiftness is invincible. It must achieve hypersonic cruising speeds, allowing it to outpace enemy air defense missiles and appear anywhere in the world at will to execute precision strikes or strategic bombing missions. Lastly, altitude is crucial. The higher it flies, the harder it is to intercept. Ideally, it should soar into near space or even the edge of the atmosphere. As Yi-Bai proposed one bold and somewhat audacious idea after another, the data streams on the system interface began to surge, with numerous complex formulas and models constructing and reorganizing on the screen. Moments later, a cold electronic voice resonated in Yi-Bai's mind. Beep. Based on the host's requirements, the optimal modification plan has been generated. Plan code: Xianbird Aerospace Strategic Bomber. Core Module 1. Miniature cold nuclear fusion reactor plasma vector propulsion engine, providing infinite endurance and hypersonic power. Core Module 2. Full-spectrum quantum stealth skin adaptive optical camouflage system, achieving absolute stealth against both radar and optical detection. Core Module 3. Anti-gravity suspension device, assisting with vertical takeoff and landing as well as near-space flight. Core Module 4. High-energy laser defense tower electromagnetic rail bombing system, capable of active defense and beyond visual range strike capabilities. This modification is estimated to consume 500,000,000 shock points. Do you confirm the generation of this plan? Looking at the comprehensive modification plan before him, especially the staggering figure of 500 million points, Yi-Bai felt not a twinge of regret, but rather a surge of excitement. 500 million? That was merely a little over half of his current shock points. Exchanging half of his shock points for a Dominion-worthy aerial and even space-wielding bomber was an unparalleled bargain. Confirm. Proceed with the modification. Yi-Bai commanded with grandiosity and flair. If one is to play, let them play to the fullest. Let the world once again feel the shock of technological marvels from the skies. With Yi-Bai's command, the shock points on the system panel plummeted by a full 500 million. Simultaneously, a torrent of overwhelming information flooded into Yi-Bai's mind, encompassing all the design blueprints, core technical parameters, and manufacturing processes for this new strategic bomber. The transformation plan has been confirmed. Codename: Xianyao Strategic Bomber. Yi-Bai slowly opened his eyes, a glimmer of satisfaction crossing his gaze. The fabled Xianyao, a divine bird said to have aided the establishment of the Shang dynasty, was a fitting emblem for this impending aerial dominion. With the complete set of technical documentation at his disposal, the subsequent tasks became remarkably straightforward. Given Yi-Bai's esteemed status as a national treasure, the resources he could mobilize were nothing short of formidable. A mere phone call set the national machinery into rapid motion. In less than 3 days, special alloys, rare earth materials, and high-precision electronic components representing the pinnacle of Dragon Country's industrial prowess began to flow unceasingly into the Black Technology Factory. To align with Yi-Bai's schedule, several large state-owned enterprises even paused their regular production tasks, dedicating themselves entirely to the urgent manufacture of specialized components for him, such as the might of a national system. In the month that followed, Yi-Bai once again entered a frenzied state of seclusion, one that demanded madness to survive. The underground workshop of the Black Technology Factory was ablaze with light day and night. The roaring of mechanical arms, the arcs of electric welding, and Yi-Bai's busy silhouette comprised the entirety of this space. Time flew by, and soon it was January 2026. Outside, winter's chill had settled in, the northern winds howled, and only a month remained until the Dragon Country's most significant traditional festival, the Spring Festival. Yi-Bai exhaled deeply, setting down the precision calibration instrument. Gazing at the transformed behemoth before him, and a long-awaited smile graced his face. Finally, it was accomplished. At this moment, the Xianyao bore no resemblance to the H6 it once was. Its entire surface was cloaked in a matte, deep black coating, a full-spectrum quantum stealth skin that seemed to devour light under illumination. Its streamlined fuselage design and massive wing configuration eliminated all vertical stabilizers, while 2 plasma vector engines, emitting an ethereal blue glow, were concealed within the body. This was a true work of art. Yi-Bai patted the fuselage, filled with joy, and retrieved a secured phone to dial Commander Nya. Commander Nya, I have fulfilled my promise. The craft is ready. On the other end of the line, Commander Nya, sipping tea, choked at the revelation. What? It's done. He stared at the phone, his voice rising in disbelief. It's only been a month. This is a strategic bomber, not a child's plaything. Are you some sort of deity? Though he was accustomed to Yen Bai's rapid-fire approach, this was indeed a strategic bomber, the crown jewel of industrial achievement. To accomplish this in a month was astonishingly absurd. Well, I may have put in a few extra hours and been fortunate, Yen Bai replied nonchalantly. All right, I'm on my way. Without another word, Commander Nya hung up and hastily summoned a helicopter to head to the Black Technology Factory. Half an hour later, accompanied by the thrum of rotors, a WZ-10 helicopter descended steadily onto the factory's helipad. The cabin door opened, and Commander Nya leaped out, followed by an elderly gentleman with a head of silver hair. The esteemed figure of the aerospace industry, Qian Xianghua. Mr. Qian, what brings you here? Yen Bai approached Qian with respect, genuinely honoring the lifetime contributions of this venerable scientist. Huh, I heard you've created quite the stir, and this old body couldn't resist following young Nye to witness it, Qian chuckled, shaking Yen Bai's hand and surveying him with heartfelt admiration. Looking at you reminds me of the old adage, the waves of the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. This generation surpasses the last. With young talents like you supporting our dragon country's future, I can retire with peace of mind. You flatter me, Mr. Qian. I'm merely standing on the shoulders of giants, Yen Bai humbly replied. Enough with the flattery. Let us see this magnificent creation. Commander Nya, anxious and fidgeting, longed to rush into the hangar. Very well, please follow me. Yen Bai smiled and led them into the heavily guarded underground hangar. As the heavy blast door slowly opened and the lights illuminated the space, the dormant Xian Niao, hidden in darkness, immediately stole everyone's breath away. Standing beside the wing, Yen Bai began to detail the performance parameters of this colossal machine to Commander Nya and Mr. Qian. The Xian Niao strategic bomber employed a groundbreaking micro-cold nuclear fusion reactor as its core power source, coupled with two newly developed plasma vector propulsion engines. It no longer depended on traditional aviation fuel, theoretically achieving infinite range. Infinite range. Mr. Qian's hand trembled. His eyes widened in disbelief as he regarded Yen Bai like a mythical creature. You mean nuclear power? And cold nuclear fusion? As a titan of the aviation industry, he understood the profound implications. This meant that as long as the pilot could endure, the aircraft could remain airborne indefinitely. Moreover, Yen Bai pointed to the aircraft's special coating. This is a full-spectrum quantum stealth skin, integrated with an adaptive optical camouflage system. In simple terms, it can render all active radars blind while dynamically altering its color and light refraction based on the surrounding environment. In other words, even if it flew right above you, you would neither see nor hear it, nor feel its presence. A true specter. Commander Nye gasped in astonishment, his eyes wide with shock. In terms of speed, thanks to the powerful thrust of the plasma engines, its maximum cruising speed can reach Mach 10, and its top speed can exceed Mach 15. Additionally, it is equipped with anti-gravity suspension systems, allowing for vertical takeoff and landing, as well as easy breaches of the atmosphere, entering near space or even low Earth orbit for transhemispheric strikes. Mach 15. It can reach space. Mr. Qian felt utterly numb, as if the foundations of his understanding had been shattered. What was this, if not a bomber? Regarding the weapon systems, Yen Bai finally pointed to the underside of the fuselage. In addition to the conventional nuclear warhead carrying capacity, I have also installed 2 high-energy laser defense towers and an electromagnetic rail bomb system. This allows for intercepting incoming missiles and precise strikes on ground targets from thousands of kilometers away. After hearing Yen Bai's introduction, Commander Nya and Mr. Qian were rendered speechless. They exchanged glances, each reflecting the tumultuous shock within. A national treasure. Truly a national treasure. Mr. Qian trembled as he caressed the cold fuselage, tears streaming down his face. With this, who would dare to invade the skies of our dragon country? Our backbone is truly solidified. Commander Nya, equally exhilarated, turned beet red with excitement. Without hesitation, he pulled out a red secure phone and began contacting personnel. Quick, assemble a battalion of troops. Bring the most advanced special transport vehicles. Level 1 alert. Get this precious creation transported to Secret Airport Number 3 for immediate testing. Several hours later, at the Central Theater's Secret Airport Number 3, under the tight escort of an entire battalion, the Xian Niao was securely delivered. As Yen Bai, Commander Nya, and Mr. Qian disembarked from the helicopter, they were astonished to find several red flag cars with special licenses already parked at the edge of the runway, surrounded by several bodyguards dressed in black. An elderly gentleman clad in a Zhongshan suit, exuding vitality, leaned on his cane and gazed at them with a warm smile. Long Lao. Yi Bai's heart skipped a beat as he hurried forward, astonished that this esteemed figure had personally arrived at this clandestine airport. Commander Nye and Elder Qian also looked stunned, quickly stepping forward to pay their respects. Long Lao, what brings you here in such frigid weather? Commander Nye asked, somewhat apprehensively. Haha. I heard that Comrade Yi Bai has created an extraordinary treasure for our nation, and I simply couldn't resist the urge to come and witness it, Long Lao replied, waving his hand dismissively, his gaze filled with kindness and admiration for Yi Bai. Yi Bai, my boy, you have truly surprised me time and again. The previous Chungying Mecha has equipped our army with a formidable steel warrior capable of confronting tanks. That Kunping transport aircraft has also empowered our air force with global reach. It hasn't been long since then, and you've prepared yet another remarkable surprise for our country. As he spoke, Long Lao looked up at the sleek black Xian Niao parked silently on the runway, a strategic aerospace bomber. With it, our long nation has truly grasped the sword of Damocles hanging over our enemies. He continued, youthful heroes, our nation is fortunate to have young talents like you. It's a blessing for our country and our people. Long Lao tightened his coat and grasped Yi Bai's hand, as if regarding the most promising descendant of his lineage. In addition to visiting this new aircraft, I have something to discuss with you regarding the previous Chungying Mecha project. It has now been officially approved. Long Lao paused, his expression becoming more solemn. Considering the unique nature and strategic significance of this equipment, we've decided to establish a new military-industrial enterprise dedicated to overseeing the development and production of these cutting-edge weapons. After some deliberation, we have named it the Divine Machine Industrial Group, embodying the spirit of ingenious strategy and decisive victories. As for the share distribution, it's the usual arrangement. The state will hold 49, while you will possess 51, ensuring absolute control and decision-making power. The state will contribute land, facilities, equipment, and some specialized funding. All you need to provide is the technology, nothing else. Furthermore, we have already selected the factory site for you. Located in the old military-industrial base on the outskirts of the capital, it boasts well-developed infrastructure and the highest level of confidentiality, ready for immediate use. In essence, from today onward, the Divine Machine Industrial Group will be yours, Yi Bai. Everything has been arranged. All you need to do is focus on research and production. Hearing these heartfelt terms, Yi Bai felt a wave of emotion wash over him. This was the trust and support of his nation. Moreover, regarding the order quantity for Chungying, Long Lao extended a hand, displaying 5 fingers before Yi Bai. It's not the previously mentioned 1,000 units, but rather 5,000. What? Yi Bai could hardly believe his ears, his eyes nearly bulging out. 5,000 units. Long Lao, are you serious? This is a staggering number. Indeed. It is for the Gouda, Long Lao replied, a knowing smile on his face. With 5,000 Chungying units, we could plow the earth several times over. Chapter 434, Xian Niao, terrifying indeed. Haha, better safe than sorry, Long Lao said with a meaningful smile, offering no further explanation. You have seen the current international landscape. It is rather unstable. Without some formidable assets, we would lack the confidence to assert ourselves. By the way, the Kunping transport aircraft, as a core strategic delivery force, will also fall under the purview of the Divine Machine Industrial Group for production and management. After all, this technology is too sensitive to remain with Longyuan, which primarily focuses on civilian ventures. Yi Bai nodded in understanding. Both the Kunping and Xian Niao are national treasures that indeed require stricter control and confidentiality measures. Consequently, Longyuan Group will now only be left with the Longyuan I model, the supersonic passenger aircraft. Yi Bai stroked his chin, deep in thought. Although there was only one product remaining, with the Longyuan I's performance outclassing Boeing and Airbus, and its exceptional cost-effectiveness, it was on the verge of dominating the global passenger aircraft market. The profits from this single model would suffice to keep Longyuan Group thriving. Future developments could include new models, such as regional jets or private business aircraft, but that could wait. Establishing the Divine Machine Industrial Group was the priority. Yi Bai contemplated silently. Now that the formalities are settled, let us see what this Xian Niao is truly capable of. Long Lao turned to the runway and nodded at Commander Nye. Commence. Yes. Commander Nye, brimming with excitement, seized the radio and issued the command. Tower, attention. Order. Xian Niao 1, take off immediately. Commence full performance testing. Received. Xian Niao 1 is ready. Anti-gravity engine activated. Plasma thruster preheating. As the pilot responded, the Xian Niao on the tarmac emitted a deep hum. Then, to the astonishment of all, this colossal machine, weighing hundreds of tons, defied the laws of physics and began to levitate smoothly, without any run-up. The anti-gravity device beneath it glowed with a soft blue hue, scattering the surrounding snow in a flurry. This is anti-gravity technology. Long Lao gripped his cane tightly, his eyes sparkling with unprecedented excitement. Take off, with a command given. The Xian Niao, suspended in midair, erupted with brilliant blue flames from its tail, instantly transforming into a black lightning bolt, piercing the sky at a breathtaking speed. In the blink of an eye, it vanished from view, leaving only the fading trail of blue flames. Report to the command center. Xian Niao 1 has reached the designated airspace. All system indicators